Thunderstorm night enveloped the high magical tower, illuminated flashes, lightning. The atmosphere thickens as if foreshadowing something ominous and important. A man with a grin, confirms to the lady her guesses. His gaze is full of hidden intentions, but confidence in the voice only enhances anxiety. Woman in exquisite blue dress, majestically costs among accompanying. Her pensive sight says that she reflects on the upcoming events. In a cold dungeon, chained prisoners, a young man and a girl are standing in front of the lady. They as if intended for some cruel purpose choice. Girl with purple, my eyes are struck by the beauty, the lady standing in front of her. Admiration mixed with anxiety, because she understands that situation dangerous. The man continued smile offer to the lady due choice between two captives, as if this ordinary deal. His frivolity calls internal cold. The girl permeates strange premonition. Her sight lingers on the young man, and she feels that he can become, for the lady, someone important. Purple eyes captives are studying face young men. His empty sight says that he is unable to resist completely subordinate someone else's will. In memories pop up creepy experiments. Black magic that left on them body's brand of submission. Fight was impossible. The press deprived them freedom. But inside is growing determination today. All will change because the girl is ready to take away from her own tormentors the right to control and regain their power. When is the moment of acceptance? Solutions is approaching the end. Heroine is faced with a difficult choice that maybe change everything. Her heart shrinks from the realization importance this solutions. She surprised the cruelty of the rules that let her choose only one. In her eyes, readable confusion and anxiety, because choice too much complicated. With anxiety, she asks what will happen to the one who will remain. Her covers concern for the fate of the second, a prisoner hidden behind indifferent surrounding. Answer makes her shudder, her choice limited. The one she does not take will not be given to another magician. The fate of the second turns out sealed. It turns out that because both were created from her mana, they can't belong to no one else. This is knowledge plunged her into further big confusion. Heaviness solutions presses. The one she doesn't choose will become useless. The thought of it unbearable and intensifies her internal struggle. Cold voice announces the inevitable outcome. Unnecessary waiting destruction. Awareness. This awakens deep fear and despair in her. Silence is tightening. She hesitates, realizing that any her solution will entail tragic consequences. Her thoughts, they get confused, not giving peace. Deep down, she knew which one choice will bow down. But the matter, it wasn't just that. She realized who there is actually case. Exactly. She was main heroine of this world, the one from whose solutions depended strangers' fates. Awareness her role gives her determination. A man in an elegant suit with a grin reports Madame. What will hand over control of the captives to her? His voice is full of confidence, and the shadow behind him inspires anxiety. In the dark corridor, a hooded figure with a cold determination pulls the chains that bind two captives. Their helplessness is felt in every one tense movement. The lady, looking coldly at what is happening, notes to herself that this human never changes. In her look, readable, restrained anger and disappointment. A guy in chains with a gloomy face, determination continues resist, despite the futility their own attempts. His stubbornness calls irritation among the jailers. Mages are powerful leading figures, empire for themselves. Their wisdom and strength inspire respect. They manage mysterious forces. These powerful creatures are not afraid diseases and live longer ordinary people. However exists the only one a disease capable of, instantly deprive them life. This one deadly illness is disease mana. She can hit anyone who is associated with magic, and its consequences are inevitable. If mana is depleted, or on the contrary, accumulate in excess disease, instantly will strike the magician, and then no one will be able to save him from death. The magicians are looking for this problems. One of them suggests create creatures capable of absorb and accumulate mana to avoid disasters. Using dark magic, they created similar creatures. Thus appeared those who, now forced to serve absorbing mana for the good of the empire. Madame reflects on the cruel world of magic, where magicians becoming adults are registered in the association, and the creatures created from stones, mana, become their property. This contract are called encrois, a couple. Nice. She thoughtfully ponders the meaning creation's creatures from black magic, doubting the need for such cruel actions. Although it's a novel, but still too much dramatic. Madame realizes that if they were not created, I wouldn't be locked in and wouldn't feel. It would myself thing with which are treated heartlessly and disdainfully. Suddenly, the guard interrupts her thoughts, declaring time checks. He orders, stretch out your arms to show magic handcuffs and go outward. She nervously looks around their handcuffed and remembers how a few years ago, for the first time, realized that is total only a minor character in the novel. Touching the stone mana, which gave her life, she feels like it's on her surge strange and unfamiliar memories. These memories reveal the truth to her. She is in the world that was described in a novel full of intrigue and danger. Heroine understands that main characters ready to do crazy things without thinking about the consequences, sacrificing by all, for the sake of achievement, their own goals. At the end, finally, the main heroine finds himself trapped, falling into the hands of those who always was, at the center of the narrative, manipulating her fate. So she is doomed to live her whole life among these people in a destroyed world where survived only few covered thirsty power and passions. Young woman suddenly ends up in the body minor character in a dramatic novel. A scene opens before her mysterious scene with important figures that are playing key role in history. Finding yourself in a new reality heroine is being asked the question of what kind of strange world is her surrounds and wonders what the author thought while creating a complex and dark plot. Touching the magic crystal, she notices strangeness, complete absence memories of the past life and how it became part of this stories. The idea that she became the heroine of the book torments her. She doesn't understand how and why she was reborn here, left without the slightest ideas about the past. Awareness contents novel scares her. She knows that the book spoke of the imminent end of this world and this threat. It seems to her everything more real. A sudden scream interrupts her thoughts. In front of her, with eyes unfolds a disturbing scene that makes heart rapidly to fight. It's happening something strange and surrounding start panic. She trying to understand that happens, noticing excitement in people's eyes. There is a guy next to her whose behavior calls irritation. He again tightly grabbed her by the hand, creating another problem. Before them appears horrifying picture, a bloody guy in chains. The guards take him out. His appearance causes fear and anxiety. Heroine notices his piercing, a look filled with rage. In her eyes flares up determination, and she demands that he not move, sensing looming danger. In chains with a bloody clothes, persistently resists, despite threats prison conclusion. His determination scares guard, but not broken. Reserved guard urges on a girl with white hair and purple, with her eyes calm and silence hide internal tension, but she obediently is coming forward. Bare feet slide on the cold floor. Light pain makes Yule shudder. Someone is irritated notices that push. It is not at all necessary to do so strongly. Yule is reserved. She replies that she was going to anyway move. She thinks that they all ended up in the same situation, position deprived of the right to freedoms. However, her thoughts return to the one who does not stop, resist his tenacity, makes it stand out among the rest, forcing think about its power. He wears the name Cod, which in ancient language means zero. In this place, those who have more magic denote in smaller numbers, emphasizing their peculiarity. Among all those who were created with the help of black magic, he was the one who was born with the largest reserve of mana. This makes him unrivaled in his generation. Yule was given the name Tu, reflecting her place in this cruel okay. Her sight calm but hidden behind it, understanding his own provisions. To all who was created in this tower gave impersonal names without surnames. They are addressed as with things, and most resigned myself to it. But Cod became exception. Its infinite resistance seems to Yule something unusual, causing her mixed feelings, admiration and anxiety. Among faceless crowds, Kal stood out his determination and inner force. His presence as if violated the usual order, forcing those around you become wary. He was different from the others because they were only part extras, then as in, it was hiding something more. A predetermined destiny leading to change. In the future, leaving the walls, this towers, Kal will raise the sword against magicians, sowing fear and destruction. His fury will unstoppable, but even it won't happen. Limit he will destroy the empire to its foundations, and the world will shudder at his actions, recognizing in him the embodiment of evil. His path is inevitable, will lead to the role of the main antagonist, the one who will become an obstacle for heroes of this world, and will change move stories. Yule, watching him, realized the obvious. Kal from birth was special. In his eyes reflected the fate beyond control to no one. And yet in the darkness, she caught something strange charm. His cold determination attracted forcing heart to fight faster. She was with him from the very beginning, and knew him better than anyone else. Their connection was stronger than it seemed at first sight. Kal suddenly spoke the words that touched it, hit her hard, reminding her of the past and who she was. She was for him, but suddenly weakness shackled Yule. Her body as if it stopped obeying, and thoughts plunged into chaos, leaving only anxiety. In the dim, illuminated, in the room, Yule watches Kal, amazed by his slight gait. Thoughts about his strange confidence cause her anxiety and wariness. Kal reservedly addresses the person in front of him. His voice sounds threateningly. He's suddenly enough interlocutor by the collar, shirts clenching his fist with increasing anger. Voltage reaches its peak when Kal is furious, requires explanations desperately, trying to understand what had been done to him. His anger boils and the voice carries, echoed throughout the hall. Cold-tempered interlocutor with a grin reports Kalu the terrible truth. They created it. These words seem to pierce consciousness, leaving only horror and misunderstanding. From shadows performs figure in black cloak. The voice sounds ominously claiming that Kal was created just for one goals, to obey the same magicians as they. Kal covered panic. His body envelops dark energy. He can't believe heard, fear and despair embrace him when he realizes inevitability. The interlocutor, with a smug expression, with a smile and a gesture, he orders to all calm down. His calmness and confidence, they force surrounding to conceal breathing, emphasizing his power. Suddenly, Kal falls to his knees, overcome painful magic. His body envelops gloomy aura and mocking smirk. Enemy only enhances feeling hopelessness. Yule, depressed own weakness, observes the manifestation. Magical the power with which she couldn't compare. Kal looks at her with contempt, demonstrating his strength. One of opponents amazed to realize that magic Kalya is active even in the unconscious state. His caustic smile gives out hidden admiration and threat. Kal, despite his forces, it turns out humiliated when forced fall to your knees. The enemy's gaze is full of superiority and composure. Broken, he listens to the words that elevate its exclusivity, but at the same time emphasize his new role in the hands of the enemy. This sounds, how mockeries. Sight Kali is filled with despair, when to him offer name that symbolizes his destiny. It is the moment of acceptance, where pride faces powerlessness. The moment does not give to him, come to your senses, when enemy presses his foot on his body. This gesture emphasizes complete submission and hopelessness. The enemy's voice sounds firmly, the name Kal, which in translation means knife, should reflect its new essence. A tool someone else's will deprive freedom. Enemy looks like contented confident, confirming ideal choice name. His cold smile adds tension at that time, as the darkness thickens around. Kal remains motionless, humiliated, and crushed. His chains symbolize not only physical, but also spiritual captivity in this abyss. Supreme figure enemy completes his triumph. His voice sounds, how mockery he demonstrates your own absolute superiority over the dark meeting. Dark conspirators discuss something important, surrounded ominous atmosphere. Their words are full approval and admiration by someone powerful, whom they are revered. Passes time, and in front of the audience appears girl with white hair. Her urgently name is inside, urging not to delay, to which she answers with slight confusion. In the castle, a man in armor meets you, limiting you with a cold voice. Her time. This emphasizes importance and tension moment. Yule quietly reflects on the routine that fell on her after checks. She looks like tired of duties and foresees protracted absence. Kal ignores her, without bothering to turn around. His posture and indifference cause a girl mixture disappointment and misunderstanding. Yule looks at him and can't understand why he's acting so strange, focused on something artificial created magic. This evokes new ones in her questions. Despondency overcomes her, and she dreams of something more interesting than boring weekdays. Her thoughts captivate her from the current situations. Soft footsteps break the silence. Yule approaches Kal, deciding do something to get his attention. She notices his genuine look and starts doubt really. Is he interested in what is happening? Sincere in what is behind this? Finally, her patience bursts, and she emotionally interferes loudly, making it clear that her patience came the end. This adds brightness in their interaction. Yule, with anxiety, looks at Kal, who silently sits in front of her. His mouth gagged, he avoids look that makes her wonder why he is so closed. Her quiet words sound in the void, while she is trying call on Kal, at least some kind of reaction. His silence more. It's annoying, but the expression faces remains impenetrable. She bends over closer to understand his condition, and he, despite the limitation, briefly answers, surprising her. In Yule's eyes, there is a glimmer concern, young woman disappointed by his stubbornness. She tries to understand what is happening to him, but internally, tension and its insistence, silence is not given answer. Yule's laughter sounds quicker. How expression despair. She decides do all possible to help Kal despite his resistance. Yule, be careful, touches his head, remembering how they tried to break, even having banned magical healing. Her sympathy breaks through her determination. She takes over responsibility for his healing, realizing that nobody can't handle it anymore. Strangely, Kal allows her to take care of herself. Kal finally raises eyes and pronounces a quiet word that makes Yule freeze in surprise. Her thoughts fast are sorting through possible values. She, wary of his behavior, asks what he means, but sees only his wounded lip. This prompts her to the idea of necessity treatments. Yule stunned guesses that Kal asks her help him. Her thoughts are filling up questions, but determination helps her focus on saving him. Yule thoughtfully looking at Kal, surprised by his request. In warm rays, Sveta, her amazement emphasized soft expression, faces like she doesn't understand what he wants. Kal silently looks at her, his eyes full, anger and pain sparkle red light. Silence becomes tense and is inner. The struggle is visible without words. Yule, noticing the change in his expression, looks away. Look. Her thoughts rush by, quickly. She confused and feels myself guilty for not understanding that disturbing Kalia. She notices that Kal points to her lip. Confused, Yule touches her and suddenly understands that something is wrong. Her face is being poured, blushing with surprise. Kal falls silent. His gaze becomes more. It's colder. Yule notices barely noticeable traces hit on his face and realizes that he has been subjected to violence. When she asks who this did, Kal takes away eyes, showing that for him, it doesn't matter. Yule feels his pain pierces her heart. Memories return her by the time when this happened. Rough intervention of another person makes her feel vulnerability and powerlessness. Kal, approaching her, reminds that she is the result of an experiment. His words sound cruelly, intensifying her interior conflict and confusion. He continues emphasizing her inhuman beauty and mocks her expectations. His tone becomes threatening, forcing her feel myself toy. Kal fits closer, creating creepy atmosphere. Yule, overcome with fear, stands motionless, aware that she is trapped by his words and power. A man with black hair is trying, covering yourself. Face bloody with his hand, clearly experiencing strong emotions. He is hurt and humiliated. Hear accusations in his psychopathy. Yule, moving away with contempt, takes away look. She expresses disgust at what was happening, emphasizing how unpleasant it was for her to be around. Her cold sight becomes sharp. She accuses Kali is that his external pretense hides the inner emptiness and abomination from which impossible get rid of. In a tense atmosphere, they are left alone in the room. Yule wonders the question of why the man seemed indifferent to her words, so deeply concerned. She notices a change in his behavior. The one who always remained indifferent suddenly shows interest, forcing her think about the motives of his actions. Their sight intersects. Yule, holding back their emotions, admits that there is nothing wrong with his actions. Remarkable, though inside feels voltage. Kal is approaching. His voice sounds firmly. Their dialogue becomes all more personal, as if they speak not only with words, but also with hidden ones, emotions. She looks at him, in her eyes shines violet light. Man, holding her in her authorities, asks who gave her the right to behave like that. Yule, despite the proximity and threat, retains composure. Her words sound defiant, as if she is ready for any of his decisions. Last sight, Kala. Full determination demonstrates his confidence. He knows that she understands his intentions and will not resist what is happening. Yule looks at Kal. Her purple eyes reflect alarm. She is trying to comprehend your fears associated with it, because future seems frightening and uncertain. Her thoughts return to the image of Kal, as he can become dark memories envelop his silhouette, as if smoke hinting at a hidden threat inside. Yule ponders what would he do if he knew her secrets? She carefully chooses words, feeling growing voltage between them. Call reserved rejects. Her attempts find out the truth, assuring that he could be saved by magic. In his eyes shines confidence, but the voice is cold. Yule asks him to take care of himself, but he turns away. Look-like wants hide their real wounds, leaving her with questions. She sees how Cal finally relaxes, but his behavior all more calls anxiety. His detachment becomes all more obvious. Yule is trying drive away heavy thoughts, telling yourself that should focus on your task. But Call hard asks her leave. His words are full determination, hurt her. He's like repels her intentionally so that maintain your aloofness. Her shock at his abruptness speaks for her. She can't believe in his sudden removal. Her emotions whirlwind are spinning inside. Yule can't find it. Understanding in his gaze, separation between them becomes obvious, as if an invisible wall separates there. Yule always felt like Call treats her coldly, as if she was only shadow, but he never tried kick out her from his life that was confusing her. She was seething with emotion, declaring that her actions are not her choice, but only inevitability. Her purple eyes were blazing indignation. Call silently listened her, but indifferently asked, "Leave." His calmness hurt her more, any words leaving behind oppressive silence. With difficulty holding back anger, she left the room, realizing how much irritated her character. Her heart was bursting with it, awareness. He, despite her flashes again, addressed mine, "Look at the window." Every movement of his, as if emphasized reluctance, see her. Yule felt anger at herself for her helplessness. In her thoughts slipped through envy of his calmness. This pushed her to the solution. His words about her unhealed wounds sounded unexpectedly and hurt even more. They opened new. The wounds on her soul are greater than any actions. Doubts overwhelmed her. She turned around on the threshold and asked if it was really whether she needed to leave, but there was fear of losing in her voice, all. Call, without turning heads coldly, noted that she, all more here. His voice was firm but slightly trembled, giving out hidden emotions. Her footsteps echoed in the hallway. I realized that within these walls remains part her soul's, but her solution was inevitable. Yule, with displeasure on his face, ponders how her concern for others goes unaddressed. Her, the fragile image with silver blue hair, expresses hidden determination. Waking up with a slight, she was confused. Notices that she fell asleep while reading a book. Purple eyes reflect tired but light. The awakening day raises her mood. Approaches her mischievous and friendly, with wavy hair, red hair. He carefully notes her tired trying clear the air. The lion, so named for its magical powers, shows myself. How bright and open man, as if being embodiment morning sun. He explains that woke up her, just so that she wouldn't sleep in the library, carefully, having suggested go to her room. His naivety touches Yule. She ponders why this guy is so different from the others. The rest closed, and he is like brings light, even in the most gloomy days. Yule looks around, noticing that library empty recent revival, changed silence that awakens lung anxiety. Leo inadvertently attracts her attention. She notices scratch on his face, and her tone becomes more strict, hiding easy care. He has awkward smiles explaining that this trifle. His frivolity makes her feel mixture surprise and bewilderment. Light in the library gradually fades away, leaving two in a pleasant silence where words are no longer needed and their understanding becomes all stronger. Leo, with a light smile, assures that the magician will soon come and heal him. Sincerely thanking for the concern, Yule looks away with a cold look answering that she simply asked because of the noticeable wounds. Yule is wondering question when it is the magician who is about to appear plunging into his thoughts. Leo, in response, uncertainly admits that he does not know the exact time and assumes that he should come soon. A look appears on Leo's face, nervous smile, as he suggests that the magician will soon come down. His uncertainty starts arouse Yule's suspicions. Yule comes to the conclusion in his mind that speech, it's about lazy mage. She suggests that he will appear only late in the evening. That makes her feel hidden irritation. Assessing situation, Yule advises Lev, though, would treat the wound with medicine, because it is unknown when the magician will come. She concerned that wound maybe become inflamed. Leo, without giving special meanings, warning frivolously, notices that even if the wound becomes inflamed, magic fully will heal him without a trace. This makes Yule doubt. Yule thoughtfully reflects on stupidity, rely on magic, believing that it is forbidden to correct everything is with her, with the help of, in her look, readable anxiety and distrust. She understands how much dangerous for the created magic creatures fully rely on her. This conclusion makes her feel internal anxiety. Yule wants to say something to Leo, but changes his mind softly, taking away look and allow to him to do as he wishes. She holds back their emotions. Leo, noticing her coldness, careful asks offended Lee. Yule, calmed down, looking at him, denies hiding their true feelings. Leo, with anxiety, looked out from behind, cover. His scarlet eyes glowed in the semi-darkness. It was as if struggled with internal doubts, deciding, is it worth it? Whether to say what has been troubling me for a long time. The silence of the library violated soft voice of Yule. She tried to assure that he is not angry, but her sight spoke about the opposite. Lev felt her hidden resentment and indecision. Yule suddenly flared up. Her voice sounded sharply and abruptly. The tension in the room increased, and her furious the gaze did not leave doubts about sincerity, emotions. After Flash's anger, she closed herself off, hanging her head. Thoughts about her own unnecessary swallowed up her, and cold shadow doubts reflected in her eyes. Leo, observing the change in mood, girls be careful, tried to understand her. He thoughtfully said that the anger is obvious, like trying to get closer and help. Suddenly, into the room, burst in Call. His menacing voice pierced air. He indignantly demanded explanations why they still haven't returned, violating established rules. Yule and Lev froze, feeling increasing tension. Their views crossed, as if they looked to each other for support in the face threats. Call Sharp grabbed Yule by the wrist. His grip was strong and powerful. He is outwardly smiled, but in his behavior shone through threat, causing anxiety. Young woman reservedly. She reminded him that she was already following him, but he was in no hurry, let go her hand. His gesture emphasized wish control situation. Flash anger reflected on Cal's face. His voice became icy. He sharply ordered fell silent, and the atmosphere around became even more tense, hanging over them like thundercloud. Yule is surprised what is happening, thinking about what they are often used without explanation. However, this time, something is disturbing her stronger. Ordinary, as if situation goes beyond the usual. Memories of the recent past incident float into her memory, forcing think about it. It won't happen again. Is it that happened during the day? Excitement covers her, and fear takes over. Uncertainty takes possession of Yule. She doesn't know why will lead following a stranger. This step seems dangerous, and I doubt it's worth it. Lay trust intuitions. Heated situation reaches the limit as she breaks down, and with anger requires let go. Her demonstrating determination and readiness to fight for one's freedom. Yule understands that he can't more stay here. Her covers panic, and she accepts solution run. How can rather than to be saved? Looking for shelter, she decides. Hide in the first caught room. This is impulsive. The decision is dictated by fear and desire. Avoid dangers. Once inside, Yule feels relief thinking that she had managed to escape her pursuer. However, internal voltage all hasn't left yet her. She looked around and realizes that this place. It seems strange to her, familiar, causing new questions and strengthening anxiety. Suddenly, she notices a young man with piercing eyes. Red eyes. His calm sight awakens mixed feelings in her feelings. Fear and curiosity. Yule is shocked to recognize the stranger, Kali. In her head, sounds perplexed. The question is why it was he who turned out to be here at this moment. Yule, seized anxious, wondering why escaping running away, I ended up in the room, Kalia. This one, the thought does not give her peace, causing internal discomfort. Deciding not to dwell on the thought, she focuses on searching something that could serve as a weapon. She desperately, I need an object that looks like a hammer. Turning around, she notices Kalia, calm down, sitting on the bed. His indifference makes Yule think, but she continues search something heavy for self-defense. Looking around, she realizes that there is nothing in the room suitable. Of course, it is not surprising that they do not keep in such premises potentially dangerous objects. Suddenly into the room, a guard bursts in. His appearance makes Yule wary, because her position becomes more dangerous. One of security guards threateningly requires that I walked up to him while he was talking calmly. His intentions are clearly not good that enhances voltage. Yule, without giving in bravely, answers that will carry out his order only after he explains where is going to take her away. The guard smirks. His steps become more confident situation. It's heating up, and it seems that there is no way out. Yule notices something strange, and this her scares. Excitement covers her after all. What is happening is clearly out of the ordinary. Silence between Yule and Kal fills space. Their views intersect, creating feeling as if is brewing something important and fateful. Yule with surprised looks at Kal, not understanding why he suddenly appeared before her. His mysterious sight makes her feel feeling worries and expectations. Something important. She's slightly confused, trying to explain what is happening, but she realizes that she herself is not completely understand situation. Easy nervousness is reflected in her look. Suddenly, Yule's face changes, and he calmly demands to leave her. There is a note in her voice, determination, and she's not going to give in. Confused in his own words, Yule begins doubt. Really, Kal perceived her coarseness. How addressed to him? She internally tenses up, watching his reaction. Suddenly appears third, a man in armor, with a cold with rage, stating that, if young woman, he will leave. Here do nothing, his hostility enhances voltage. Yule is surprised and outraged by his words, especially by how rudely he called her. Touches her pride and causes lung irritation. Night continues, insists that she left threateningly, reaching out his hand towards her. His aggression becomes all more obvious. Kal stands in front of Yule, protecting her, his own body. His confidence and readiness to confront cause a girl surprise and light confusion. He is cold and calm, repeats requirement, clean up, without leaving behind doubts about his seriousness. His dark aura enhances feeling dangers. Yule wondered why he was so abrupt myself. Leads. Perhaps he wants to protect her, or repay the kindness shown. This uncertainty makes her more think about his intentions. Man in armor dissatisfied, squeezes lips, realizing that his patience is running out. He understands that his opponent will not be able to hide forever, and this only question time when he is found. Kal and Yule hide in the shadows, wary, listening to the footsteps. Girl notices how villainous characters always find themselves in the spotlight in cheap novels, which makes her feel irritation. Yule is awkward, presses himself against Kal, feeling tension in the air. He abruptly turns to her, and the atmosphere between them becomes more tense, as if the words were stuck in my throat. Young woman bows, slightly, apologizing for the fact that disturbed his peace. Her voice is quiet, but in it feels like sincerity that awakens in him strange feelings. Without looking at each other, they decide disperse. Each goes off in his direction, as if trying avoid awkwardness hanging over between them. But in the air is hovering something more. Yule, having plucked up his courage, demands explanations. The look is full of determination, and Kal silent, as if weighing every word that could change, move their conversation. The girl, falling to her knees, admits that she herself does not understand the guard's behavior. Her voice trembled with helplessness, and at that moment, she seems especially vulnerable. Yule covers up tiredly, eyes wondering why her no explanation has been found response. Her internal irritation, it grows, but she is trying save calmness. Young woman notices strangeness in the character of the interlocutor. Her words are full misunderstanding and light grievances after all. If he doesn't believe her, why? Then demand explanations? Kal continues silently. Look at her without saying anything, not a word. This is silence. It seems Yule especially heavy, as if he were again immerses himself in his thoughts, ignoring her. Yule thoughtfully looks out the window, realizing that it is almost night disturbing magical illusion that hides the real world. And she understands that it is time to return. She sits on the cold stone bench, covered easy anxiety. An inner voice tells her to be careful with those around you, because the world is around you too much insidious. Kal appears in the shadows, his gaze full of anxiety. He notices that Yule is too kind to people, and this does her vulnerable to those who ready use her kindness. He warns her, explaining that, by she cares so much about those around her, they will be continue to use her weakness and humiliation, her. Doubt slips into his voice as he recalls the guard who often caused her inconvenience. His words sound worriedly. Yule was surprised, raises his eyebrows, not immediately understanding what he was talking about. Easy confusion is reflected in her purple eyes. Kal specifies that speaks of a guard who one day hurt her, leaving a cut on her lip. His words sound how a reminder of her vulnerabilities. Yule wonders why Kal again raised this topic. Memories of that pain start float into her consciousness, causing her discomfort. In her memory pops up unpleasant moment. The magician grabbed roughly her by the chin, gets too close to her close. This is painful memory makes her shudder. Yule, having collected his thoughts, explains that this was not a guard, but a magician responsible for them. However, she immediately stops myself irritated, noticing that talk about the past only spoiled her mood. Kal, with a thoughtful expression, faces realized that what happened began to take shape, meaning his view became more seriously, as if he finally— I understood what it was, for all leads. Yule surprised, raising her eyebrows. She didn't hide it. Skepticism, she didn't see it in this, nothing significant, and wondered why this should her worry. Inside, her irritation grew. Is it possible this can name conversation? Because they don't really communicate, like between them, stands invisible wall. Having felt internal disappointment, she sharp cut off conversation, reminding myself that everything is all ready, she explained. Her steps sounded decisive, but there was resentment in her heart. After this, caring for Kal's wounds became her integral duty. She silently performed debt, hiding their true feelings behind the cold mask. The world around them remained calm for some time, as if nothing serious could have happened. However, voltage was growing, foreshadowing changes. The silence was broken event when Kal was grabbed and dragged back covered in blood. His wounded body caused alarm for everyone who this saw. Yule heard whispers. Kal attacked someone for what was expelled. The owner tower's news stunned her, leaving the oppressive feeling anxiety. The guy standing next to him asked with a trembling voice if he was alive. Yule answered sullenly that Kal will survive, though her voice sounded uncertainly. I thought that, if Kal was dead, they wouldn't bring him back. This, the thought, did not bring relief, only strengthened interior conflict. Yule, overcome with fear, convinces myself stay away from the conflict and don't get involved with the dangerous Kalem. Her voltage is reflected in her eyes, filled with anxiety. She looks around into the void, trying to find solution their own doubts. Suddenly, the cold of loneliness falls upon her, filling her space around. Her thoughts, mixed with concern for Kalayul, tries to convince herself that nothing would happen to him. However, there was a note in her voice, uncertainty. Having decided that he's doing the right thing, Yule firmly convinces myself follow chosen paths. Her determination is reflected in her look. Yule is leaving Kalya behind, bloodied and broken. She moves forward, suppressing feelings that torment her from the inside. Trying hide, she walks next to the young man, a person who becomes her temporary protector. His silence creates illusion security. Her determination gives crack when Kal behind breaks the silence. Yule continues on his way without looking back, clutching their feelings in strong node. Her stop before the warrior indicates a new turn. His interrogative eyes face her cold, with a glance creating voltage between them. Yule confidently requires that she was let through. There is a note in her voice, solid determination despite internal struggle and doubts. Warrior confused. His confusion causes a pause, giving Yule a chance to continue your way, leaving questions unanswered. Yule, with determination, requires stay with the prisoner in the dungeon. Her voice sounds firmly, though security guard reluctantly gives in her persistence. View girls sparkles cold fire. Rocks, with a sly smile, is trying. Find out Yule's motives. His questions provocative, but she saves icy calm, irritated rejecting his assumptions. Yule faces Rocks in a tense situation dialogue. He is clearly amused situation, but she makes it clear that she will not tolerate his interference defending their intentions. The guard doubting lets you through. The girl surprised her determination. His good-natured smile hides mistrust, but he prefers not to go into details. Yule, bending over the wounded man, captive, furiously condemns those who cause to him pain. The look is full of contempt, and the silence of the dungeon seems oppressive. Yule's thoughts are disturbing. She realizes danger connection with the person whom they think villain. But something inside her makes go against logics. Internal Yule's irritation turns into fatigue. Thoughts about possible consequences, actions, Roxa, and his interference haunt her. The prisoner, exhausted and bloody, lies in the dungeon, his face exhausted. He calls, "It's a pity," but Yule knows that behind his suffering, hidden important secret. Reflecting on the past and my decisions, Yule tries to find an excuse, his own actions. She understands that is driven not only debt, but also personal feelings. Mixed emotions, Yule is overwhelmed. She feels that her life, now related to this mysterious person, and understands that there is no way back. Yule, with anxiety, thought about the dark magic used on Kala. Realizing that without intervention, owner towers, the curse cannot be lifted, and he cannot be saved. Her face reflected concern. She realized that medicine can't cure it, inflicted wounds. Light moons broke through the windows, emphasizing her thoughtfulness and fragile determination in search exit. Bandages, ointment, and pills on the table. These meager means barely could they make it easier? Suffering. But she collected them with trepidation as the last thing I could do. Holding the box of medicines, she thought that when he woke up, even painkiller will help. He can handle it. But her heart doubted the success. Her cheeks painted blush embarrassment. She couldn't explain to herself why she was so worried. Persuading yourself that it's just help, she tried to calm down emotions. Watching Kalyul saw how his condition remains unchanged. Room was filled oppressive silence, like as if he really left forever. She sat next to his motionless body, feeling myself powerless. Light slid along their figures, reminding of fragility life and its leaving hope. Passed days, but no one from guards or owners. The tower never appeared. Yule remained alone in the situations, surrounded by fear and uncertainty. Kal did not serve Sign's life. His stillness and the blood on the floor filled the atmosphere with a heavy load, but she did not retreat, hoping for a miracle. Despite his condition, Yule believed that one day he will leave anyway. This place, her determination was unchanged. Even if hope seemed ghostly, Yule painfully thinks about how to save a person in trouble, feeling heaviness responsibility. She understands that inaction could lead to his death, which evokes fear and doubt. Her tense sight wandering in the dark cameras, where reigns gloomy atmosphere. However, at this moment, its determination noticeably is getting stronger. Despite the cold walls around, security guard appears with a demand, raise your hands. Yule realizes that it's been 5 already days from the moment her conclusions here, and with difficulty accepts reality. Yule asks question about the Master's orders towers, but gets evasive answer. Voltage between her and the guard is getting stronger, and the unknown pushes her to act. The guard sternly pushes Yule to go faster, indicating busyness. The owner, she feels cold and wary, preparing for the meeting, appears before them, Kal radiating authority, declares that from this, the moment itself will be accompany Yule, instilling in her anxiety and hope simultaneously. Kal specifies that took it upon himself, responsibility for Yule only temporarily, but these words make her feel suspicions. His actions remain mysterious. Yule finds out the shocking truth. The magician who was protect her died. This news fills her grief and helplessness. She barely realizes that the magician has been dead for 5 years days ago, at the moment when she was captivated. This opening gives her strength for the future actions. Yule looks at Kal, seeing in him not only strength, but also hidden intentions. She understands that their path will be dangerous, but decides not to give up. Yule remembers the day she found herself in a dungeon with the magician Kal. She feels a chill of horror as he thinks about how. This coincided with the moment of her destinies. Dungeon surrounded strange aura. Girl feels painful, whisper as if everything that is happening associated with mystical threat that tears apart her soul. Kal, exhausted, and bleeding blood throws away Shadow his guilt for the magical disaster. His gaze is full of pain, but in it there is a secret hidden. Yule sees how the magical world collapses, and the death of the mentor responsible for it, training becomes inevitable reality. Wave fear grows when Yule realizes that her suspicions can turn out to be faithful. Heart shrinks with anxiety, which as if devours her intelligence. Before her appears appearance, Kala shrouded blood and mystical radiance. His red eyes, as if accuse her, awakening feeling guilt. Strong personality suddenly appears in front of her. The man whom impossible meet accidentally looks at her with a mysterious half-smile. His confident look confuses Yule. It seems that this chance is hers. Opportunity to change something, but fear paralyzes the will. It is admitted that the dream that dreamed of her earlier begins come true. Disturbing details become reality, fettering her doubts. A magical mystery unfolds before Yule's eyes, revealing fateful secrets. Destiny, fear, and hope mix in at heart. Yule says that I saw it in a dream, mysterious an entity called the Owner Stone Mana. This one, the magical artifact, flickers between them, mesmerizing sight. Yule recalls a girl named Estella Dimitris, important figure associated with the stone. Her appearance and name, as if live in Yule's subconscious, enveloping her thoughts. Secret. Yule is sure that the story associated with Estella is directly related their fates. Disturbing reflections confirm her guesses, reinforcing feeling inevitable threats. Estella is the heiress influential genus. Magicians almost equal in power, imperial family. She is a heroine novel, in the center of which, stone mana. Her family performs against use, stone for creation creatures. Constance conflicts with the imperial court. Intensify tension approaching inevitable finale. Yule realizes that Destruction Stone will entail Fall Tower's mages. However, choice partner Estella, maybe change fate and prevent disaster. Estella should was choose a companion for his affairs. Yule recalls how young woman I was worried when I saw it in front of me. Two worthy candidates. Difficulty's choice were obvious. The decision was not easy. Each from applicants possessed special qualities worthy of attention. Yule asks the question of what everything ended, and soon finds out that Estella preferred another, forcing think about the meaning this choice. Estella chose an alliance with the mysterious and gloomy Kalom. Their connection promised to become fatal, influencing the future fate of the magical world. The man looked attentively, evaluates the girl with snow-white hair, amazed her unusualness. His look reflects deep respect and curiosity. He reflects on existence unique creatures, whose magic is related to the response reaction to magical mana. Recognizing truthfulness, their own words, the man turns to the girl saying that she and Kal are the most amazing creatures in the tower. His words full of sincerity touching her. He assures her what she won't have to go any further, about nothing. Worry that sounds, how promise protection and support. Young woman thoughtfully looks away, thinking about his words, realizing that who would know remained in the tower their role will be defining. A man with a mysterious smile assures her that of the one who will remain in the tower will be important mission. His confidence calls tense emotions. Yule is inspired anxiety. Her thoughts full distrust of the idea that created to serve the magician can have a significant task. Narrative transferred to another scene. Mistress Towers took off magical a curse that gave hope, but in return had to accept conditions. Yule visits a friend who has helped to escape meetings with magicians and guards. The atmosphere is filled with warmth and relief. They exchange short remarks, confirming that came to their senses. Between them, you can feel sincere connection that fills the stage with light. Yule noticed that her companion looked like exhausted after sleepless nights, and with sincere care suggested that she take a rest. Her voice was soft but confident, reminding of the importance restoration of strength. The girl with short hair tried to refuse, claiming that everything is fine, but the uncertain tone gave away tiredness. Yule softly suggested, stay here where she could feel myself safe. Suddenly, embarrassment fully took possession. Interlocutor, and she said impulsively that preferred would go to Yule's room. Her ardor called easy a smile from the white-haired girls. Quietly watching his companion Yule thought about how this kind, and a little naive, the girl could have turned out to be so close to Kal. Her thoughts were filled easy confusion. Reversed mine. Looking at Kal lying in peace, Yule noted that his condition a little improved. It gave her peace of mind though all I was still worried about him. I was thinking about magic healing that used owner towers, and involuntarily wondered how much attentive care surrounded by a man. Thoughts returned her to her own guesses, trying drive away doubts. Yule convinced myself that I shouldn't allow emotions tie up her with him. Her intelligence tried to overcome suddenly surging feelings. Yule looked at him, trying to suppress her inner conflict. She kept repeating to herself that once tear apart this one connection. But the heart seemed to disagree with this. Yule stood in the thick in the darkness. Her purple eyes tensely peered into the distance. An inner voice insistently dissuaded her from going there, but the feeling unknown and easy anxiety did not allow her to retreat. From shadows arose Kal. His red eyes reflected weak light. There was a silence between them, complete questions. Yule asked him if he was from that place, as if she herself was afraid of the answer, but could not resist. Yule's gaze was directed towards the distant tower, shining in the night-tormented question, what is hidden this place? Darkness around her, as if thickened, intensifying her interest and fear at the same time. Kal answered harshly and coldly, warning Yule about the danger. Her persistence caused him irritation, but there was clearly a hint of it in his voice, hint of something more than just advice. Yule explained that the goal is just to ask for food or money. But Kal, smiling, retorted that he would study similar. His words made her lung confusion. She thought about it really, whether he was telling the truth. His answer seemed arrogant to her, but I felt that he was hiding something that connects him with this gloomy place. Yul looked at Kal with surprise and bewilderment, trying to understand him. He held on confidently, but in his tone and gestures, one could read some elusive shadow worries that caused more questions. Waking up, Yul was surprised, discovered yourself in a new environment. Light broke through the windows and Kal sat next to her. I tried to understand how and why I ended up here, but I couldn't remember. Yul noticed that cloth Kalia stained blood. This fact caused her fear and wariness. I felt that his presence was not accidental and that he was clearly involved in something frightening. Kal, cold and distant, looked at Yul with a mysterious expression. Between them arose tension, as if air was saturated secrets. Yul realized that her life is more closely connected to him than she thought. Yul holding bloody knife reveals that on the body, Kala has no wounds. This is amazing her, because his shirt impregnated blood. In her eyes is reflected bewilderment and anxiety. Yul begins ponder the riddle. Why does Kal have no wounds but there are blood? Her sight becomes tense thoughts they capture, and she realizes that with this human connected something inexplicable. Yul understands that blood does not belong. Kalu realization. This leads to more alarm, and in the background appears sinister red background symbolizing danger or hidden threat. Yul, be careful, asks Kalia. I didn't fight. Is he with someone? She trying to find answers, but in his head swarm assumptions, and her sight gives out internal tension and fear. Her thoughts become darker. Really? Kal could harm another person? Yul's gaze plunges into the dark images she feels, increasing worried, but not losing attempts to understand. Yul denies their suspicions, claiming that this impossible. She remembers details analyzing their internal conflict between logic and emotions is getting stronger. Yul finds out that Kal for the first time killed a person leaving mysterious tower. This was the turning point that linked his fate with hers. Now she has to do choice. Estella. The mysterious woman took off from Kal Magic Seal and offered, give him freedom or opportunity, stay and serve her. This is. The decision was a test of his will and values. Kal chose stay with Estella to support her. How physically and spiritually, his gaze is full of determination. He accepts his new role with an inner calmness. Their choice led to a new one. Chapter. Kal and Estella now represent by yourself, united whole, surrounded with light and flowers. Their destinies intertwined, symbolizing hope and harmony. Hand of Kal squeezed bloody dagger. This gesture symbolized his determination, go to the end for your own ambitions. Bloody. The footprints fell to the floor, leaving behind a trail of destruction and tragedy. The power that Kal acquired thanks to family Estelle made him stronger. But he paid for this gift, monstrous price, betraying those who sincerely trusted and helped him in difficult times, moments. The head of the family lay on the cold floor in a pool of blood, Estelle. His eyes forever closed. There was something lying nearby. Dagger, weapon betrayal. This was final. Their trust and love. Yul is horrified, realized that Kal destroyed everything that connected them. Her scream pierced the silence. She couldn't believe that he, once close, the man turned out to be cruel killer. Kal, with blood with a grin, explained his actions. His only the goal was to prove how strong he was. Thirst power deprived him not only humanity, but also the soul. His clenched fist, stained with blood, expressed anger and cruelty, determination. Kal felt himself the master of fate. It seemed to him that this just the beginning of his great journey. His red's eyes, burning scarlet flame, reflected cold confidence. He realized that, now capable of anything, desire take revenge overcame all doubts and fears. Kal set myself target. Destroy all magicians' empires, murder families. Estelle was the first, a step on his way to the top, full of blood and destruction. Yul realized that Kal all still in the tower magicians. Her embraced horror, because he's everything more, could to commit something irreparable. She felt that time for action, there is little left. She thought about his limited magical force, trying to find a way stop him. Yul with purple, with his eyes, he doubts that Kal killed Roxa. She looks at him trying to understand, and Kal only takes away look without giving clear answer. His tired look only adds anxiety to the situation. He admits that he didn't check if he was alive. Rox. His indifference stuns Yule, and she starts doubt your own assumptions. In her consciousness, pop up thoughts about the future where all changes. Yule ponders. If Rock's dead, that's it. Maybe fully change their fate. She feels like the shaky world around begins to collapse, and the future becomes foggy and frightening. She looks at Call with a new feeling. Yule's thoughts are interrupted terrible awareness. If the world that she knew everything would disappear, she considered real, it will turn out lie. Her eyes flash with bright light, reflecting her internal chaos. Yule throws accusing look at Call, wondering why he is leading herself so indifferently. She looking for answers, but his silence only kindles her anger. Everything this seems unfair to her. Call, despite his calm, notices her worry. He sarcastically says that she does. I like Leo, and this turn of events maybe be to her advantage. It makes Yule confused. Yule is indignant, not understanding why Call mentions Leo. She feels that it doesn't matter attitude towards them current problems, but his tone makes her doubts and new ones experiences. Call claims that Rox's death will provide Leo with a place as a magician, which it is profitable for Yule. He puts her before moral dilemma, how as if throwing Call her values and desires. Call warns Yule that he will not forgive anyone who dared to hurt her. There is a hint of determination, and the look penetrates her soul, forcing think about his true motives. Yule notices that Kala doesn't have a magical bracelet that suppresses her power, covers anxiety. This opening may become the key to understanding his actions and their future. Yule attentively studies his own interlocutor, noting that on his clothes, visible traces of blood. She comes to the conclusion that Call may be capable use magic that makes her feel internal anxiety. Realizing that Call didn't eat nothing since turned out to be locked in the tower, Yule begins to suspect that his condition unusual and his abilities may pose a threat. When Yule notices that on Kayla, absent a magic bracelet that was restrain his abilities, her suspicions are getting stronger. She understands that this may be dangerous. Yule turns to Call, demanding explanations where the bracelet went away. She concerned that Master Towers notices the loss and tries save composure despite his growing anxiety. Yule recalls what effort she put it in to release Kali and take it off him. Cursed, she bitterly reminds him of his sacrifices for his salvation, remembering how she humbly asked the owner towers. Yule angrily expresses Kali that his actions can destroy all of it, works as if he does not appreciate her devotion. After total, Yule decides what happened. Leave. Her determination manifests itself in how she turns around with his back to Call, making it clear that her patience is running out. Yule announces that no longer knows what to do, and provides Call is free to decide his own destiny, expressing your own disappointment in him. She decides that will not come to him again, finally having torn apart their obligations, despite the struggle that this solution causes. Yule is horrified, comes to the conclusion that Call could kill a man known to her as Rox. Her purple eyes full doubts fear and bitterness. Yule, with purple with eyes, is tormented, feeling guilt for one's own interference in affairs. Kalia, her soul is filled with darkness and regrets. Deep pain seems endless, and thoughts they carry away her in oppressive loneliness. She goes into the corridors of the castle, getting lost in its cold walls. The look turned back is filled determination not to repeat mistakes. Like the shadow itself, Yule dissolves into silence. Call, exhausted and bloody, stands alone, his robe soaked with pain. In his eyes hid anger, but deep down, it feels like echo. Hope that the path is not yet complete. Yule tries to find solace in the library. Her whole appearance speaks of sleeplessness, nights spent in thought. Her sight focused, but shadows past events do not let go. Pink-haired lion, bright and shining, greets Yule, striking her his own, with a relaxed and warm look. His sincere smile like a ray of light among darkness, her thoughts. Yule tries to understand what could have made Lev so happy. His radiance seems contagious, and despite doubts her heart a little softens from his joys. Leo laughs, embarrassed by her comments. His carelessness stands out from her gloomy perception, but Yule can't get rid of anxiety premonitions that behind this is hiding something more. Deep darkness again envelops Yule. Thoughts about the past events come back as if cold touch. In her eyes flares up horror when she understands that Call's fate is not so simple. Leo is divided with their plans for a quick release from the burden that weighed on him for a long time. His words sound, how relief, but in Yule creeps doubts about the price paid for this. Alone. Yul ponders herd. She is not sure that all can justify. However, something important calls her forward. Awakening new feeling, debt to those who needs her help. Yul alarmed asks Lev if it is Kali killed Roxa. Her eyes full anxiety and the voice trembles like as if she is afraid hear confirmation his fears. Leo is silent, deep in thought. The lion smiling remembers events past evenings. His look becomes tough, but the mood ominous. He says that the situation with Rox was not random, and perhaps Yul doesn't know yet all truth. Leo is calm, tells that Rox didn't die, despite the bloody fight. Yul is surprised. She saw how guards carried away Roxa, but she couldn't believe that he was still alive. Lev adds that this is not the end. Rox weakened was carried away and destroyed by the guards. His lifeless body reminded of the tragedy that unfolded the day before. However, the reason for the conflict remains covered darkness, and this worries Yul. Kal, with a mysterious expression, faces reflecting on what happened. His eyes are burning determination, and it seems he is not going to leave the situation unanswered. His image evokes fear and admiration simultaneously. Yul thinks about nature creatures created black magic. She knows that such creatures demand large expenses and are destroyed if the magician does not choose their coins symbolize the price that pay for them existence. Yul is surprised. How could rocks be destroyed so quickly due to accident incidents? It seems to her that in this, there is hidden reasons that Leo did not reveal to her. The mystery weighs on her heart. Lev looks at Yul, his gaze warm, but the words sound coolly. He hints that knows the reason for the attack. Kali on Roxa. Yul has difficulty understanding his motives, but waits continuations, stories. Leo unexpectedly admits that he himself reported Kali, what Rox threatened Yul. He explains that he could not allow this to happen, and his actions were his own genius protection. Yul is stunned. Yul is shocked Leo's confession. Her purple eyes burning with emotion, she doesn't believe Herd. The question of why he did this makes she screams from helplessness and the atmosphere around her. It's heating up. Yul, the girl with purple, with eyes, tries convince Leo that his desire live not at all meaningless. Her voice is filled determination, and she tries to convey to him that he has the right to fight for his own future despite the circumstances. Lion with red with his eyes, he looks into the distance. He admits to himself that wants live like would hard. This no was his face expresses pain and hope at the same time, as if he was just beginning to realize value his own existence. Dark Tower surrounds Leo with chains, his thoughts focused on breakout from this imprisonment. He dreams of freedom and fury lights up in his eyes. He won't allow it anymore. Circumstances to hold him back. Leo feels heaviness chains that symbolize his past. He struggles with his own fears, dreaming of find real freedom and start live like to him. I want to, despite all the obstacles. In front of him lies bloody sword. Leo reflects on the fact that perhaps he will have to go to extremes measures for survival. He feels heaviness choice, but decides that for the sake of life, he is ready to donate to many. Lev and Yul stand in front of each other in a dazzling light. Yul supports him, inspiring confidence. Their views full understanding, and between them, it is established deep connection, as if they decide fight together. Lev, with his head down, shares his thoughts with Yul. The most secret fear he admits that is afraid death. His voice trembles, but in her, he sees in his gaze support and promise, help to him overcome this fear. Leo says what he told all just because wants live. His tears roll down the cheeks, but in this it is not weakness that is shown, but strength. He is ready, admit their emotions for a new chance. Yul recalls how her own life, same hanging by a thread. She understands Leo as nobody, another one. After all their destinies intertwined in the struggle for survival, determination inspires him to continue struggle. Leo is wondering, question, what do if their world does not leave them choice? But in his words, there is a sense of strength and readiness go to the end. Yul looks at him with hope, as if promising that they will overcome altogether. Yul quietly watched Lev, who tried hide their tears. He reflected on what he had failed to foresee important events, and this caused him interior conflict. His emotions spoke louder than words. Yul stood in front of Lev, trying to console him. She reminded him about the possibilities that he can find if we'll accept her fate. She tried to show he has a way beyond towers, but her voice was full of doubt. Yule reminded that Leo has big magical potential than she. However, she said that this is his advantage, insignificant in comparison to the incredible by force, Kalia, who surpasses and leaves everyone the rest in the shadows. The lion listened, but his eyes expressed contradictory feelings. Yule, realizing that their conversation does not bring any results, relief turned away. She admitted that she couldn't be grateful him for this, despite his sincere efforts. Yule felt it fatigue from heaviness their conversation. She left Lev, heading deep into towers. Her figure disappeared into the soft in the light, as if dissolving into the shadows, their own thoughts and doubts. Month flew by unnoticed. The tower remained majestic and impregnable, surrounded thunderstorms, clouds. Inside, she was seething with emotions and conflicts, leaving feeling inevitability. Yule did it all. This time in your room, avoiding meetings with others. I've never heard of it, news about Kala. And all more withdrew into herself, immersed in loneliness and anxiety, thoughts. Her thoughts often returned to the moment when she saw Kalia after events. Why did he become so silent and distant? Yule was at a loss, realizing that he seemed to changed forever. Kal sat in the dark surrounded purple glow. His figure seemed broken, but inside him was boiling struggle. Yule wondered, tired, will he resist? To your demons. Life in the tower went on as usual in turn. People got used to the routine and silence that reigned within these walls. Among them, Yule noticed Echo's peace, but her soul is still remained restless. The silence that reigned in one place suddenly was broken. Tragic event. Everything around was painted scarlet color, as if calm was shattered by a splinter of pain and despair. He was lying on the floor, wounded, a man with blood on his face. His shocked sight showed fear, and those standing nearby demanded immediately call owner, like as if only he could fix everything. People gathered around, looked with alarm. Among them stood out girl with white hair and purple with her eyes. Yule's face reflected misunderstanding, happening, and shadow fear. Kal, a man with black hair and burning red eyes, stood a little to the side. His intense sight, as if Yule burned through, creating there, is tension between them, which impossible was ignore. Yule noticed blood, and someone's trembling, the movement that made her become alarmed, more stronger. She began to think she is afraid Lee. She is the one who stands in front of her or what is happening around. Someone raised their hand on which Alayla blood. Someone else's guilt, and the question of what was done, hung in the air, causing voltage among those who watched this silent conflict. Yule extended her hand, trying calm down situation. She said that she didn't care that happened, and called to rise, as if only this step could restore peace. Kal, looking at her, reminded that she promised not to betray him. His words, filled with pain and reproach, broke through the barrier, their silent confrontation forcing Yule to think. Blood on the floor, frozen hands, and wounded souls filled the space around the one of the people quietly said that everything happened exactly as she wanted. Kal, detached from the crowd, looked at Yule. He said that he lived quietly until she didn't show up. His words sounded like result, completed history, that more it is forbidden was forget. Kal, being tense and angry in a moment of strong emotions, realizes that maybe act without restrictions as to him as he pleases. His red eyes are burning determination, and the surrounding atmosphere is charged voltage. Yule looks at Kal with disbelief, realizing that he might be dangerous. She tries to understand his intentions, but her worried eyes. They say that she internally prepares for the worst. He in turn reproaches her for her promise not to interfere. Two guards are wary, watching Kal, exchanging with a look. He, with a cold determination, repeats Yulia's words, that he is allowed to do whatever he wants. His calm but threatening tone causes alarm in the air. Yule is shocked to realize that Kal really ready to cross the line. Next to her, a girl with purple hair looks frightened. Their fear of his actions becomes all more tangible. Appears Master Towers, accompanied their own magicians, interrupting tense moment. His confidence and calm smile create a contrast with the tense the situation. But Yule understands that his appearance does not bode well, nothing good. Yule is stunned, realizing that situation comes out of control. Her thoughts torment questions about the reasons for presence, the owner towers and its magicians. She is trying figure out what do more while situation becomes all more difficult. Kal doused with blood, it begins exude ominous magical aura. Yule notices this is what stunned me. what was happening, realizing that his forces go beyond ordinary. Her concern reaches its climax. Yule hears ringing in the ears and feels like Mana is responding to the presence Kalia. Her body weakens from the tension, but she understands that must find a way. Stop him, otherwise consequences will be catastrophic. Yule collects latest strength looking into his eyes. Her determination becomes noticeable. She understands that only she, maybe restrain him. Her will overcomes fear, and in her look appears steel determination. She clearly understands that if she can't handle consequences affected all who are dear to her. The image of the majestic figures from her past reminds her of her long, and she accepts this last chance. Yule and Kal are standing shackled chains, their expressions faces full determination. Though they are clearly in a difficult situations. Girl decisively looks forward inside no boiling thought. This is the future will not come true. Gloomy man, with a grin, looks at his hand-covered dark energy. There is a note in his voice, indifference, when he realizes that his power cannot be shaken. His shadow fills space around. Kal falls to his knees, clutching his chest, his face distorted with pain. Dark energy envelops his body, forcing from the inside, fight the invisible by force. It seems that he is losing this battle. Yule is stunned. Her eyes are filling up purple light when she feels presence behind her back. She is anxious, turns around, and her sight meets a man whose image inspires fear and hope at the same time. Before her appears Master Towers with disarming smile. His calm voice breaks the silence, asking if he needs lie, she is in help. This moment strengthens her confusion, causing her heart to fight faster. Visible on the floor, bloodstains indicating that Kal was seriously wounded. His flaming red eyes and clenched teeth show that he is ready. Fight to the end, despite your wounded state. Master Ice Tower's calmness holds Yule by the shoulder, as if demonstrating your own dominance. His words emphasize meaninglessness, resistance, Kala, which only aggravates his situation, turning this is cruel game. Kal with fury meets glance with the Master Towers. Their energy collides, and hidden emotions are visible on their faces. Threat, Yule caught in the center of this conflict, remains silent, witness their duels. Yule begins understand that Master Towers sees her only how a tool for their own goals. His smile is just a mask, hiding his true self. Face-filled power and cold calculation. Master Towers intend continue your own dark business. His face remains serene, but behind this external calmness is hiding confidence in one's own victory. This is confrontation, just the beginning of more scary chapters, their stories. Kal bruised and tense stands, trying to keep himself from falling, his gaze full of determination. He knows he does not intend to surrender, despite the pain, and internally fights against the growing despair. Yule appears in a shimmering radiance. Her image glows in the dark. She reminds herself that she didn't want to go back to that, but the feeling responsibility and affection for Kal forces her to act. Approaching Kal, she falls to his knees, softly, supporting his face with her palm. Her eyes full pain and determination, she quietly says his name, trying to convey to him her support and comfort. Yule asks Kalia, listen, her tenderly, hugging him to calm his inner storm. Her voice becomes confident when she says that today they should leave from here, freed from the chains that they are holding. Kal, although tormented doubts, listens her, but thoughts are falling upon him. Yule explains why they should leave it place. Her eyes express despair and strength. She knows how difficult it is, accept, but insists. Yule states that this perhaps, her voice is full, hopes, and a look is on fire, determination. She tries convince Kalia what together they will be able to overcome everything that will meet on their way. Her words break through his inner wall, and he looks at her with trepidation. When she takes his face in her hands, Yule convinces him to believe her. Her voice becomes softer, but does not lose hardness. Yule swears that they both abandoned tower magicians. Her promise sounds like an oath that kindles spark hope in the eyes Kalia. He starts believe that all more may be. Master Towers watches them from afar. His gaze cold-blooded but deep down hidden shadow. Doubts Yule continues to hold Kal's hand, preparing to fight to the end for them, freedom. Yule, with a sad but unwavering expression, determination, asks again, Kalia. Her voice becomes almost in a whisper, but it is permeated sincere with a plea. Kal, gathering his strength, raises his head, preparing follow her. Yule looks at Kal, who concentrated ponders situation. His view expresses anxiety. He is tense, like as if something doesn't work to him. Peace. The atmosphere around seems saturated tension as before a storm. The guards were struck. What is happening? They notice how Kal gives instructions to take Yule upstairs. His determination calls confusion, but they obediently are getting ready, carry out an order without even asking questions. Yule, wounded, refuses help. Her voice is firm. She is trying. Show your strength, but blood on your clothes gives out her weakness. One of guards stretches out his hand, as if wants convince her, accept help. Her purple eyes pierce the darkness. She says that she can handle it herself, and Kal reluctantly agrees. Her determination, despite appearances, weakness bewitching. Yule feels myself awkward because of the dirty with blood clothes. She hears how Master Towers indicates that necessary change clothes, because in such a condition, it is forbidden, continue on your way. Master Towers, with a smile, reminds Yule of the importance compliance, external appearance, before meeting the magician. His goodwill seems slightly ominous, as if there is something hidden behind it, something more. The guards receive order. Take Yule upstairs and bring her a new one. Clothes owner. Towers continues. Smile, his confidence in his power is visible in every one movement. One of guards slightly pushes Yule forward, showing that, hesitate more, you can't. She looks at him with surprise but does not object, realizing that she has no choice. Master Towers, with ostentation grace, is trying to fuse the situation by commenting suddenness events. His manners simultaneously calm and evoke mistrust. Yule, Kal, and the Master Towers are preparing for the next step. Yule is internally tense. Her look is full of anxiety and expectation. She understands that ahead, they're waiting something important and possibly dangerous. Yule has a premonition. An ambulance meeting with the magician standing in front of the beautiful stained glass pattern, surrounded with light and flowers. Her pensive, her look is full of doubts, but her determination remains solid despite the unknown. In the crowd, Leo appears, whose unexpected sight meets with Yule. His appearance makes her feel a slight shock, but deep down, she can't hide hope and confusion that light up in her eyes. Yule notices that Lev seems to strives for it, but is afraid this admit. She intuitively stretches forward, feeling that there are between them something inseparable, even if she herself doesn't understand it yet. She ponders that perhaps Leo will not choose her, preferring someone else. Thoughts on comparison with Kal. They force her heart shrink, but she tries not to show it their own doubts. Yule understands that in her current position, all predictable. She is ready to accept the circumstances, because thinks that that's it, her fate. However, in her look, visible glimmer, other outcome. Her eyes are burning determination. Yule believes that she could change move events if she had a chance. This moment becomes a moment of inner peace for her transformations. In her head, sound ironic thoughts about the chains that they connected. She feels myself thing, but her soul refuses be broken. Threat becomes for her challenge. Her sight is filling up determination when she finds out the place where is located. Yule recalls vision that saw through magic stone and realizes that now all becomes reality. Yule understands that she was brought to this. The place is not accidental. She is trying to understand what kind of figures these are surround her. Call from outside pushes her act faster. Finally, Yule calms down, myself noticing that all under control. Call, who is nearby, shares this with her test. They both connected chains, but their views reflect firmness and inner strength. Kal, wounded and weakened, lowered his look. I could barely comprehend that the former strength was gone. Looking at the wounds, Yule felt that with each, a moment away from her, remains only ghost past. Yule, watching him, heard that is approaching owner magical stone, with which connected their fate. The calm tone of the servants hid something ominous, foreboding trouble. The man in the elegant outfit adjusted his tie and looked with interest. I was wondering who would have the honor of accompanying me, Estella. His confidence and sarcastic smile, his hidden ones, gave him away intentions. Yule stood in chains, and her sight was directed at the strangers surrounding her. She couldn't show it, weakness even when in captivity, but inside she struggled with anxiety. Estella appeared, the embodiment, shining beauty, her blue eyes an aura of calm, as if they enveloped everything around. She was associated with magic stone, and her presence only emphasized their difference. Yule recalled the moment when for the first time met Estella. She realized that in front of her was not just a person, but a symbol of an ideal world to which she didn't belong, but which manil his by force. Estella greeted with special honor, everyone around as if bowed before her image. Yule saw how greatness this girl's overshadowed everything else, forcing her be aware of your vulnerability. Yule felt like the walls, magic and chains were tightening around Ho. She understood that, if this continues, he and Call will have to do impossible to break out from this an ideal but cruel world. Call, bound but not broken, looked at Yule. Their views met, and in this short silence, they found strength in each other. None of them were going to give up, even if chances of winning were ghostly. Yule and Call accepted the solution is to fight together. They knew that their freedom depends on how much they ready fight against fates, against Estella, and against those who wanted them to subjugate. Yule finally felt it, long-awaited freedom, when her shackles with a crack flew apart. It opened up before her, the future that I once saw it in mind visions. Liberation filled her determination and faith in change. Freedom became a reality, and Yule felt how disappear latest traces, shackles. The broken chains symbolized end her imprisonment and the beginning of a new life filled with light and hope. Estella, seeing off with a glance Magical Tower, mentally said goodbye to it. Gloomy place Yule and Call stood with her, each from which felt cargo past, but was ready to enter a new chapter of my destinies. Yule was tormented by doubts. Why master the towers let go so easily her? This one unexpected freedom seemed suspicious. I couldn't shake the feeling that there was something behind this, is hiding something dangerous and insidious. In her anxiety crept into my thoughts. The owner towers, for sure I have something in mind. This has worried Yule, and she began to think about what threats can lie in wait her ahead. Estella, with kind regards with a smile, she introduced herself, trying discharge tense atmosphere. Despite the strangeness situations, her sincerity and openness helped to create feeling comfort and safety. She is interested, turned to Yule and Call, wishing to know their names. Estella tried to establish contact. Her friendliness caused trust and encouraged communication. Yule quietly named her name, mentioning Call as well. There was restraint in her voice, and Call looked like tense. Their names kept hidden meaning, which added to the strangeness this acquaintance. Estella, with a lung surprise, perceived these unusual names, as if I understood what was hidden behind them. Calm reaction dispelled. Part anxiety, creating thin connection, mutual understanding. Yule thought about the meaning his and Call names, O and Tu. How would this no explain these designations reminded her of the dark past. They seemed to her to be devoid of warmth and humanity. Yule, with anxiety, looked at the approaching majestic palace surrounded by bright light. Ahead the unknown awaited them, and the grandeur of the castle only strengthened excitement. Inside, Yule's carriages could not be hidden surprises. Palace was so luxurious that seemed embodiment fairy tales. Even to her accustomed to magical sights, this place it seemed unreal. Estella, radiating confidence, joyful, reported to all that they arrived. Her smile inspired calm, but Yule and Call remained doubtful and wary. Estella suggested at first Logan inside Palace. There was a lightness in her voice, as if would she invited friends in your own house, hiding seriousness upcoming. Call sat silently, thoughtfully looking out the window. He was immersed in his own thoughts when Estella mentioned that them to come get rid of their uniforms and remove the magical seal from them. Yule was thinking about her role. They had already left the Tower Magicians and arrived at the palace, Estella. Now she considered it her mission completed and was preparing to step away. Estella noticed Yule's indecision, and with a slight, she asked with confusion, doesn't want to whether she should come in. Her smile slightly trembled, showing that she still worried. When Call, Estella remained silent, with a slight, sadly admitted that he didn't trust her. The confession sounded soft, as if she didn't hold a grudge. She was simply stating a fact. Yule thought about it really. It would be a miracle if would Call obediently followed Estella. His behavior, it seemed strange, because he didn't show it. None resistance. Call still motionless sat, and Yule was perplexed. Noted that he doesn't even intend to go out. His indifference to what was happening only strengthened anxiety. Yule, with caution, looks at Estella, realizing that she is not calling trust. Tension is in the air, and Yule with Call remain wary, not knowing what expect from the hostess palace. Estella explains with sincerity in her voice that wants help by freeing them from the seal which fetters their strength. In her eyes, readable wish, support them despite the mistrust. Solar light illuminates majestic palace, creating an atmosphere of comfort. Estella expresses, I hope that Yule and Call will be able to feel myself here. It is safe and peaceful. Yule looks at Call, and there is a hint of easy uncertainty. She ponders the possibility, stay in this place that seems at the same time alien and attractive. Estella promises that will help them, even if they decide to leave the country. Her words sound. Sincerely, she is ready to provide any support. Estella assures that regardless of them decisions, to stay in the palace or leave, she will accept any their choice. Her hands are clasped across her chest, emphasizing seriousness, intentions. Call with serious expression faces asks important question. What they want. This question makes Yule think about her own real desires and goals. Yule is amazed by this question, realizing that her role in this stories, maybe end in her look, appears anxiety after all she feels, his insignificance in what is happening. Unlike Call, who is Key the hero of this world novel, Yule realizes myself only a minor character, incapable influence the course events. Yule recalls their vision's future, where Call stays close to Estella. This thought makes her feel internal confusion. After all, future seems predetermined. Yule, shrouded bloody darkness, appears in the form. Ruthless, a warrior ready to reveal his true essence and subjugate the world to his will. In his gaze, readable determination and steadfastness. Yule reflects on her life without the thirst for revenge accumulated over the years. The only thing desire, to find a way, live calmly and serenely, without getting involved in dangerous intrigues the surrounding world. Conscious availability, congenital mana. Yule understands that he will soon be freed from the seal. Having mastered magic, she will be able to survive even alone. This path seems normal to her for a secondary character. However, something is troubling. Yule Call silently watches her without saying a word. Not a word. This close sight makes her feel internal anxiety and makes think about his intentions. Confused by his silence, Yule begins worry. Don't expect. Did he have any answer? Her nervousness manifests itself in a light smile and a drop of sweat on the cheek. Estella notes thoughtfully that such moments can be not the best. Her calm voice as if hints at hidden consequences, what is happening. Suddenly, Estella with pleasure states that wants to be friends with Yule and Call. Sincere smile and friendliness cause a slight headache in Yule confusion. Inner voice insistently warns she doesn't make friends. However, Estella with kindness smile reminds that Call looks like he will follow her choice. Yule with a light laughing is trying to convince yourself that all this only chance, but uncertainty and anxiety do not let go her thoughts. Enveloped with anxiety, Yule asks himself, question why everything works out that way. Her bright eyes sparkle with fear, and she with annoyance asks what is actually happening. Case. Yule and Call were inseparable since birth. Their connection seemed natural and strong, like they were part of one whole. Yule understood that I became attached to him, but I couldn't believe that he could feel the same. Call always seemed cold and distant. Yule didn't believe that he could become attached to her just as strongly. She was grateful just because he doesn't hate her. After all, this already seemed enough to her. Yule was tormented by thoughts. Could it be? Her request to remove from Call the curse could have led to this consequences? She blamed herself for what happened and did not understand where she made a mistake. She tried to convince herself that Call couldn't change because of her words. She clearly saw future, but now it seemed distorted to her. Yule was at a loss as to why all went wrong. Yule wondered what was really going on. Business conceived Call. His behavior became for her a mystery, and I felt that behind this is hidden something important, things she can't understand yet. Estella with kindness smile turned to Yule, asking unexpected question. There was sincerity in her voice, but Yule was stunned and didn't know how to answer. Yule was confused by such a question. She did not understand why Estella is interested her desires. This made her think and feel easy anxiety. Yule realized that she was in a difficult situation. She didn't know what to do and felt like his growing tension. Her thoughts were confused and emotions covered her. Yule with indifference. I thought it would stay Call with Estella or not. Her this I didn't care anymore because she was focused on her own experiences and thoughts. Yule felt internal protest against the fact that Call follows her. This has caused her anxiety and uncertainty because his presence became for her heavy burden. Yule thought that, good, maybe to be in being close to the most cruel villain. She reminded myself that I didn't want to more have nothing to do with him, calm and experiencing anxiety and confusion. In a tense Yule feels the atmosphere pressure surrounding. She understands that the situation will not change until she won't give answer, and feels myself cornered under intently, with a glance Kali and attentive Estella. Estella, with soft smile, tries to start a conversation, but Yule, putting her hand on her forehead, admits that she is tired. She is clearly looking occasion, avoid further conversations, hoping to find a respite. With determination in her voice, Yule declares that wants a little to rest. Her words interrupt tense exchange, glances with Kal, whose eyes sparkle suspicion and hidden anxiety. Before the majestic, the building of Yule is set. Question, can I put off talk until tomorrow? She looking for way pull back, inevitable, hoping when time to think establish situations. Yours sincerely, Maid agrees and wishes Yule to have a rest. Yule thanks her, feeling relief that for a moment maybe escape from the burdensome thoughts and stress. Yule, with surprise, notices that Kal did not go to his room but followed her. This makes her feel bewilderment and irritation. She does not understand why he does not leave her at peace. Kal reminds Yule that she was going to stay, what for? She indignantly answers that never said anything like that. Her confusion is getting stronger because she didn't expect such a turn of events. Kal calmly asks, really, is Yule going to leave? And she is perplexed, thinks what's wrong with him. She carefully answers that, perhaps yes, then more. More confuses situation. Kal thoughtfully looks at Yule sitting on the bed and is silent. Yule, having plucked up courage, asks him not to pursue. It's so obsessive if she will decide leave. In the air hangs tense, pause. Yule is confused, looks at Kal, trying to understand why he is telling her such things. Strange things? His words are confusing to confuse her, causing bewilderment and light anxiety. Having collected her thoughts, Yule decides ask direct question Kalu. Her covers anxiety and she is worried. Asks why, he continues follow her like hiding their true intentions. Yule gets irritated because of silence Kalia. She loud requires answer to your question, but in answer collides with his calm silence. This makes her wonder what's wrong with him. Kal saves unperturbed expression faces in his eyes. Readable cold detachment. Yule about himself notes that he always behaves like this, leads that only enhances her internal voltage. Feeling growing awkwardness, Yule declares that will do, wash, trying hide your own excitement. Kal silently watches her, that only enhances her anxiety. Passing by the curtains, Yule turns around and defiantly asks, is going to whether he should continue to stand here. There is a hint of mixture irritation and challenge. Kal calmly replies that he doesn't have the habit, undress in front of strangers, slightly embarrassed. His calm confuses Yule and makes her think about his intentions. Left alone, Yule mentally decides what she needs, run away. This thought fills her determination. After all, I'm sure it will be like that, safer. Yule is sure that stay close to Kal dangerous night. Twilight enhances her fear, and she feels that threat becomes all more real. Reflecting, Yule understands that soon Kal will kill family Estella. This one, the terrible fact, makes her think about it. Maybe will he harm her too? Yule was tormented by doubts because she felt sorry to refuse help, but she wondered whether her own life is not more important. These thoughts reflected her internal struggle and anxiety. Suddenly, someone called her. A loud voice attracted Yule's attention, causing her to become wary. She turned around at the call, feeling increasing tension at night. Silence. Before her appeared a stranger, with golden hair and bright eyes, who with a slight smile asked why she wanders at night. His appearance shrouded the atmosphere in mystery. Yule noticed him under right, with the eye 2 moles. The discovery amazed her, because she remembered that same marks were with the person from her past. A man in white appeared before her in a serious-looking uniform. Watching the huge blue crystal, Yule realized that this was Father Estella Fernand Dimitris, and his connection with the crystal made her wary. In memory, it came to light that this human was one of 3 key heroes involved in it. Fate, and he was dangerous, attached to Estella. The thought strengthened her anxiety. She recognized the man, Leanthus. His confident smile and red earring inspired feeling hidden threats, making Yule wary. Thinking about it, Yule realized that if what's happening really, it will turn out something interesting. Leanthus, same will want participate. Her. I was surprised that he was the same age as his father, Estella. Remembering his behavior, Yule wondered how he could behave so depravedly with a girl who, it's good enough to him as a daughter. Lenthus, noticing her wicked look, asked ashamed whether she… However, Yule breathed a sigh of relief, thinking that it's good that it wasn't Kal who appeared in front of her, because in this situations, this would much more dangerous. Yule thought about how it's better to act in the current situations. She felt that best exit now. Do not engage in conversation, and leave Lenthus with curiosity, watched her without understanding her intentions. Having decided that ignore what's happening and leaving is the best exit, Yule headed away. Lenthus was surprised, called out her, not understanding why she suddenly decided leave. Yule confidently was walking forward without turning back. Lyanthus is confused, asked question really. She really is just going to walk away, leaving everyone behind. Lyanthus, with bewilderment, asked, "Yourself, is Yule really going to leave the one with whom she came?" His voice sounded softly, but with a hint condemnation, forcing think about her solution. He recalled that I heard about her intimacy with Kal. His words hurt Yule, but she continued move forward, trying not to show doubts. Yule coldly snapped that they are not that close with Kal. Lyanthus is slightly smile. I doubted it, and wondered. Question not for that reason. She wants leave alone. Lyanthus admitted that he shouldn't interfere with her business, but carefully suggested Yule to think about it again. Your own solution, hinting that hasty steps can result in mistakes. He noted that perhaps she really wants leave alone, but added that she wouldn't be able to. This do? His words sounded confident, forcing think about it. Asked him in confusion what he meant. The alertness increased, because Lyanthus clearly knew something she didn't understand. Lyanthus explained that Estella and the one who was born together with Yule, they can feel her mania. The connection is unbreakable, and she will not be able to hide from them because they are all forever connected. Yule thought maybe Kal test feelings. This opening caused her anxiety, making her think about how she felt herself when from Kalia extracted mana. Perhaps the connection between them deeper than it seemed. She realized that strange sensations during extractions, mania, were not accidental. Perhaps it was a consequence of the fact that Kal really capable feel, and his suffering somehow resonated with her. Meanwhile, Lyanthus, with a sneer, noticed that while Yule hides their traces with the help of magic, it is not difficult to find it. His confidence worried, because he obviously knew more than showed. Kal looked coldly at Yule, holding her by the throat. His gaze was executed determination, and the words sounded frightening. Finding her turned out to be easy as pie. The collision made Yule feel myself helpless. Lyanthus offered Yule help, hinting that, in order to escape into the dark, she will need the Nightmaster magic. He is intriguing, added that can train her if this will wish. But trust in him was dubious. However, his proposal had its price. Lyanthus warned that for training magic, Yule will have to pay a suitable price. Its mystery strengthened tension, forcing think about hidden motives. Lyanthus smiled slyly, assuring that his offer beneficial for Yule. But his confidence made one wonder, really is this true? Or is he pursuing own goals? His light mockery asked her how she felt about it proposal. His view as if checked her reaction, making Yule think it's worth it. Lee agreed to take a risk deal. Yule thought about Lyanthus' words, realizing that the offer haunts her. She couldn't sleep, feeling like fatigue fetters body. But the solution, accept offer, or the option to refuse, remained open. Yule was puzzled as to why Lyanthus offers help after all. They met for the first time. His words about the price called suspicion. He obviously wants something in return. Her mistrust grew, and she began to wonder about his true intentions. Yule, noticing a strange noise, looked out from behind the door. Her eyes widened in surprise when she saw something that she didn't expect it at all. An anxiety arose in her soul that engulfed everything her creature. In front of her, with eyes, stood Kal, radiating a gloomy aura, and a maid who fell to her knees in front of him. The atmosphere around thickened, as if darkness was penetrating into every corner, rooms creating oppressive voltage. Eyes Kalia flashed scarlet, with light expressing cold rage. He stared, looked at the maid who trembled, and begged him for forgiveness, incoherently uttering words of apology. Yule was stunned, watched what was happening, not understanding why the maid was so humiliated, asks Mercy. Inner questions were spinning in my head that I couldn't answer answers, and fear slowly fettered her. Yule couldn't understand what again happens. In memory surfaced scraps, recent events, but everything. This seemed senseless and frightening to her. Ignorance gave birth to anxiety. Yule noticed how one of the servants looked frightened. Watches the scene amazed as the maid apologizes, and Kal remains indifferent, not showing the slightest emotions. The maid is in a panic. She addressed Kal by name, her voice shaking with fear, but he continued, save calm, as if what was happening did not deserve his attention. Jules, confused, exclaimed, demanding explanations. Her covered indignation. Something was going on in the house from the very morning, strange and incomprehensible, and she wanted to know the truth. Having received no answer, Yule became irritated. Tried again, get through to Kal. She demanded explanations, but he only coldly replied that the maid dared touch him. Yule froze in amazement, trying to comprehend, said, why? Simple touch caused such rage? In her head sounded new question. Where did she touch him that made him so angry? Yule recalls past, and memories cause her pain. Before her with eyes, a scene pops up where Kalia led in chains. Officer hurries to take him away, and she understands that his character was not simple. In front of the majestic doors, Yule sternly asks the maid where she touched Kal. The girl is at a loss and can't answer, and Kal himself silently observes what is happening. Yule was surprised, notices how much Kal attractive. His image reminds her of the prince from fairy tales, which she could only imagine in her own dreams, and her heart starts to fight faster. Suddenly, Kal. His view changes, filled with cold and anger. His red eyes sparkle. When he is stern, commands, keep silent while creating tense atmosphere. Yule understands that situation comes out of control. The maid trembles with fear, and Yule herself feels confusion, realizing that things cannot go on like this any longer. Taking Kal's hand firmly, Yule leads him away, asking, stop this madness. She strives, figure out what's going on, and get the situation back on track under your control. Entering the room, Yule notices full mess. Her! I'm overcome with annoyance, because in just one day, Kal managed to transform this place in chaos that makes her feel bewilderment. Yule reproachfully thinks about how, even in anger, Kal could arrange such disorder. She does not understand how his emotions could have resulted in such a destructive force. Unexpectedly, Yule loses balance, noticing danger. Her covers anxiety, and she is irritated. Asks what could be so make angry Kali. What did he lose? Self-control. Kal reservedly explains that touching has no effect on him, meaning Yule is surprised and stunned by his words, because she didn't expect it from him such composure. Yule softly concerns faces Kalia, reminding him that earlier, all was exactly like that. In her movements, it is felt something familiar, as if she tries to awaken in him forgotten feelings. The atmosphere is filled with a light warmth, despite the tension moment. Kal looks at Yule with a slight confusion and wondering question why all changed. His eyes full bewilderment and hidden anxiety, as if he is trying to understand the reason for what is happening and find answers to the questions that worry him. Yule with surprise notices strange behavior. Kalia, her purple eyes wide open, reflecting sincere surprise. She, as if for the first time, notices in him something new. What makes think about his actions? Memories. Kalia take him into the past, where under pouring, he stood in front of little Yule in the rain. In this moment, there is hidden sadness and loneliness that still echo in his heart. Their meeting then left a mark on both. Kal asks Yule to wait. What makes her feel bewilderment? She, confused by his sudden words, and with alarm, asks what he was talking about. Concern, it's growing after all. She doesn't understand that is happening. Yule, with irritation, reacts to Kal's words by stating that she, not strange at all. Her disturbance intensifies, and she actively gesticulates, trying to prove his case. Kal, however, retains calmness, watching her flash emotions. Kal silently watches Yule without responding to her indignation. His calm and thoughtful sight knocks down. She is confused. She feels that again, confronted with its impenetrability, which leaves her without answers. Yule, with a sigh, decides that ignoring Kala is same his own genius answer. She tries to suppress his emotions, realizing that in such moments, better not wait explanations. Her determination gradually is changing easy sadness. Yule is going to cope with it all independently, but Kal suddenly berate her by the hand. His quiet warning that here dangerous forces her think about it. This gesture is full of care and hidden worries about her. Yule is confused by the unexpected touches Kalia. However, when he is stronger, squeezes her hand. She's in a panic, requires explanations, outraged by his behavior. Her indignation and fear intertwine, intensifying voltage between them. Strong hand of Kal sharply grabbed Yule's wrist, interrupting her movement. His stern look and cold voice made it clear. She can't move. Tension hung in the air, causing Yule to freeze. Yule was surprised, considered Kalia. In her, the thought flashed through my mind that he was incredibly beautiful, like an angel. His serious face softened when he noticed her wound and with care told her about it. Shock and indignation overwhelmed Yule. The thought was in my head that, Kal, he went crazy. She couldn't understand why he was talking about it exactly now. Yule exclaimed, demanding, "Let go her," but Kal did not react. Into the room entered girl with long blue hair and began to speak timidly. She tried to explain that she only came, invite. I would like to have them for breakfast to eat together. Her voice trembled with embarrassment. Yule, embarrassed situation, hastily apologized to the guest. The girl panicked, ran out from rooms blushing with shame. Yule shouted after her that we'll return later, and Kal stood nearby, watching what was happening. Yule, with anxiety, looked at Kal, not understanding what happened. Her eyes were looking for the answers in his face, and he is silent. Watched the running away girl, keeping composure. Kal, lost in thought, quietly said that sometimes his thoughts confused. His look was serious, as if he was trying to sort out your own feelings and understand why he acts. That's exactly it. With ease, with a grin, Kal. I noticed that Yule doesn't know how to behave in strange situations. At all situations. She irritated, sighed, not understanding why he, again her teases, though what was happening was clearly awkward. Yule was stunned the table setting. She was surprised at how luxurious was this breakfast, and mentally compared it to the gloomy life in the tower. All around seemed incredible and alien to her. Having seen familiar faces, Yule called out to Kal. They were approached a girl with blue hair and a tall blonde guy. They happily reported that Prophet, first filling the atmosphere with warmth and friendliness. Lianthus, with surprise, watches Yule, who froze at the table, surrounded luxurious dishes. Girl feels his gaze on her look and is lost in conjecture as to why he looks at her like that. Looks. Yule frowned slightly, feeling awkwardness under intently with a glance. Her thoughts filled up anxiety because she didn't understand what she could attract attention. Stranger that made her to be nervous. Suddenly, her covers tiredness. She covers his mouth, trying hide yawn, and realizes that although she has not touched the food, she feels strange heaviness. Yule suggests that this may be indigestion. Her thoughts jump to Lianthus, which she sees for the first time. Curiosity, her embarrassment got the better of her, and she wondered who he could be, and what role it plays in what is happening. Gradually to her, it comes to pass that this man, Fernand Dimitris, father Estella. This awareness makes Yule wary because his presence could mean something important. Kal approaches Yule and with interest watches her actions. He notices that Estelle was hard because of them, and his words make Yule think about her role in the situations. On the table in front of Yule, there are two decorated ones. Device Kal offers to give her them new names, emphasizing that now exactly she will to answer for them that causes a girl lung confusion. Yule slowly realizes the seriousness of what was said. Kalem. His words make her think about it after all. From now on, she should take on responsibility for what is entrusted to her. Estella, with a lung excitement, turns to Fernand, trying to explain that Yule and Kal all, not sure yet, want to stay. There is a note in her voice, concern for the future development events. Fernand was surprised. Looks at Yule and Kal wondering, question did not accept Lee. They final decisions. The girl looking down plunges into thoughts about her future and new responsibilities. Yule was expecting here clear answer after lunch, but probably Ianthus interfered to this young. A person with a kind smile suggested that she go further, creating feeling care and trust. Yule with bright purple. With her eyes, she thought about the future and asked what she is going to do, to stay or leave. There was a hint of it in her voice, uncertainty, but also a desire for independence. Kal, standing by the window, calmly asked what will choose she herself. His indifferent but at the same time insightful sight caused Yule to feel an internal voltage. Yule is irritated, reminded that asked the question first, but then with relief sighed, and decided not to insist, realizing that answer maybe only confuse her thoughts. Considering luxurious palace in the rays, Sun Yul firmly decided stay. This is the decision became a symbol of her inner strength and desire for change. Yul thought about the fact that while she connected to Kal through magic, he will be able to find her at any moment. This awareness caused anxiety, but also pushed to action. She understood that without mastery, she won't succeed with magic run away from Kal. This is the realization strengthened her determination to become stronger and more independent. Not completely understanding intentions, Kalya Yul felt that to him, something from her need, Ianthus offered to help her that caused mixed feelings in her feelings, mistrust and hope. Yul decided to turn to Estella for help, whose kind eyes and the ability to control magic inspired trust. She saw in her a mentor who could teach her control your power. Yul decided to study with Estella in order to become independent in the future and learn to live without anyone's support. This thought filled her confidence and calmness. Yul, with incomprehension, looks at Kal, feeling tension from his remark. She thought about his words, but did not show it. External worries that causes him bewilderment. The situation around is filling up atmosphere, reserved confrontations. Kal, with cold. With his gaze, he reminds Yul that her fate may become dependent. Comparing it is with the fate of an obedient creature. His words penetrate deep coloring air, darkness and anxiety. Yul, having gathered his courage, resolutely states that she doesn't care about opinions, Kalia. She is firm in her intention. Maintain your independence and not let fear dictate their actions. Meanwhile, memories of how Estella helped to get rid of the shackles return to Yul. This moment symbolizes liberation and the right to choose, filling space with light, hope and faith in the best. Yul recalls Kal's words that they can be used as tools, but I am convinced that freedom granted Estella does not imply such an outcome. In this, her strength is to believe in the light future. She admits to herself that she likes it new life in this place. Here she feels myself safe and secure, appreciating that. This place got rid of her from hunger and deprivation, which pursued earlier. Kal, looking at her, says that if she doesn't like it, what is happening, he can't do anything. Help but care will a dangerous step, because this may lead to it captivity. He adds that Yul should act as considers necessary without being guided by fear or external pressures. His words sound, how unexpected confession, respect for her choice. Yul reflects on the fact that Solution Kali left them. Maybe change vision her future. Her thoughts covers uncertainty, but it believes that changes can bring both difficulties as well as new ones possibilities. Yul hears a knock on the door. Estella quietly asks, "Permissions enter." Yul turns around and her eyes, glows hope after all. Estella symbolizes that most choice that grants freedom. Yul reflects on the upcoming choice. Her words are filled. Determination. She invites enter, accepting your own the future. In her thoughts flickers hope that her fate, close ones, can change. Kal costs, with his back turned, immersed in the silence of his own thoughts. His sword reflecting red reflections, as if symbolizes readiness for sacrifice. He is ready for the upcoming events, though they are a burden to him. Yul imagines herself as an ordinary life filled with light and warmth. In her thoughts arises Kal, his face filled softness that makes her feel lack of confidence in one's own abilities and the future. Yul notices that all around, as if waiting her answer. Her sight focused, she understands how much important her choice. Silence of the room only emphasizes tension moment. Kal keeping calm, reflecting on his own presence here. His attention directed at Yul, but he tries keep your detachment. That's it, more thinking about my feelings. Yul is at a loss as to why Kal looks out the window so often. Her rooms. She tries to find an explanation for his actions, but only more gets confused, feeling tension in the air. Unexpected voltage violates peace Kalya. He is wary, his gaze penetrates into the dark depths. It seems to him that something important has changed, but he still can't understand what exactly. Yul is worried, looks at Kal trying to understand his reaction. She feels that something is happening outside them. Voltage becomes common, forcing hearts to fight faster. Light floods yard carriage wheels, thunder on the stones. Yul notices details that awaken something strange in her soul premonition. It seems to be approaching something important and inevitable. Majestic figure in the shadows comes out forward. His decisive look and presence make Yule freeze. She realizes that this is one of key heroes whose choice also will determine their future. Yule meets Alexei, a man with black hair and bright yellow eyes. His aristocratic bearing and strict expression faces cause her simultaneously admiration and anxiety. She understands that he is playing an important role in its fate. Later, Yule sees Kalia. His reds her eyes and mysterious aura evoke strong impression. However, despite his calm behavior, she feels hidden threat as if behind this appearance is hiding something frightening. Yule realizes that in the future, Kal will become a madman blinded jealousy. In her thoughts pop up creepy pictures of how he once will sharpen her in prison, forcing to experience fear and despair. She trying to understand the motives Kalia, when notices that he closed curtains in the room. His actions seem strange to her, and she feels like behind this is hiding something greater than simple irritability. Kal explains that curtains irritate him with their movement from the wind if window remains open. His harshness and dislike of trifles make Yule feel discomfort, but she holds back emotions. Yule notes that past total week from the moment their arrival here. This short term, it seems long to her, due to constant tension and its thoughts more and more get entangled in experiences. She sees Leanthus, a blonde, with kind blue, with the eyes of Alexei, that makes her think about the importance their roles in it life. She understands that their destinies closely intertwined. Each one meeting these people leaves Yule with mixed feelings. See them in reality and not in memories. Seems strange to her because previously they existed only on the pages of a book. Yule reflects on how this world that she only knew from written now became for her real. Makes her take a fresh look at your life, sides rethinking reality. Her sight stops at Kala, whose figure inspires both fear and attraction in her. In the light sunset, she feels like the world has changed her forever, having changed her idea of oneself and others. Yule is experiencing alarm because of his weaknesses and decides faster, take possession magic to feel myself more confident. This solution gives her strength, but in her soul she continues smolder. Anxiety that prevents her from moving forward. She notices that Kal refers to Estella suspiciously and wary. This Yule is alarmed because she doesn't understand what his secretiveness is. Caused motives and tension behavior. Yule recalls the plot of the novel where Kal pretended in front of Estella, hiding their true intentions. His calmness then, it turned out to be only a mask covering a storm of emotions. Now, however, Kal no longer hides his own contempt for everything that associated with Estella. His cold look and toughness, they are making Yule more wary. Yule feels myself depressed by his constant presence. He literally does not leave her side as if sticky chewing gum, what irritates her and prevents her from concentrating on her own thoughts. Kal in turn shows interest in her emotions. It confuses Yule because she wants privacy, but his persistence leaves her no choice. She reproaches Kali for his frequent visits to her room, reminding him that there is their own apartments. Her irritation grows with each of his arrivals. However, Kal with indifference reacts to her indignation. His persistence becomes obvious, and Yule does not understand why he continues follow her. His words were unexpected, knocked down her confused. He admits that if it weren't for his behavior, she would absolutely ignored him. That gives their relationships strange voltage. Yule looking at Kal feels contradiction. His closer look and words make her doubt thoughts full questions, but answers seem to be out of reach. Yule, with white hair, leaves angrily, room Kalia, expressing disappointment. She remembers what he asked for, don't go in there, and really fulfilled his request. But her emotions overflowing her. Look her determined and resentful can be read in every one movement. Kal looks following Yule with a dissatisfied and slightly reproachful expression. His red eyes are burning reproach, and he ponders why she doesn't understand his feelings. He is convinced that she should continue to keep your distance. Yule stops in the corridor, internally wondering behavior Kalia. She thinks about his resentment, seems strange for an adult man, because he himself insisted on such coldness between them. Soon, Kal decides to talk to Yule and asks how she myself feels. She sincerely, I'm concerned about his condition, but he asks her not to change the subject of the conversation, hinting at an unresolved issue, conflict. Yule explains that really, she is worried about his health notices, that he is not eating or sleeping, and with alarm is being asked, doesn't want whether he would harm himself. Her words sound sincerely, and care is visible in her look. Yul reflects on the fact that Kal, despite his character, really doesn't care about himself. She understands that his behavior is explained by his personality, but this does not detract from it her worries about him. She takes his hand and gently, but insistently, offers to rest her determination and care touch Kalia. And he looks at her with confusion, but still gives in her persuasion. Yul sits down next to Kal on the edge of the bed, continuing to hold his hand. A gentle gesture conveys all the depth her worries. Kal, feeling her warmth, a little relaxes, although it looks surprised. Kal is trying to say something, but Yul softly stops him, making it clear that the words are here unnecessary. She asks him to just trust her and close eyes to finally have a rest. Yul looks at Kal with kindness and calm, persuading him not to resist and just sleep. Her voice sounds soothingly, and her purple eyes radiate sincere, a care that seems to touch heart Kalia. Yul watched Kal, who lay in bed, as if checking to see if he would fall asleep or not. She looked like determined and a little angry, reminding myself that her presence, it's important here. Her thoughts rushed away to the warm morning light that penetrated the window, and she felt calm. But suddenly, something made her eyes wide open, as if she saw or felt something unusual. When Yul looked at Kal, she noticed that he was already fell asleep. Her face replaced expression surprisingly, but at the same time, she called him stubborn in his ways. Thoughts. Looking at the peaceful face, Kalia, in a dream, Yul felt how her own eyelids get heavier. She stifled a yawn, admitting that drowsiness overcame her. She decided a little lie down, assuring herself that this for a while. In silence, she felt something soft, which strengthened her relaxation. This moment filled her internal warmth. Later, she discovered that Kal transferred her on the bed while she dozed off. She was surprised by this gesture in her. Questions flashed through his head as to why he did this. Yul stood up and noticed that she was alone in another place. Her eyes widened in amazement, and she felt like her cover's anxiety. Around her turned out to be unfamiliar, but incredible, a luxurious hall decorated exquisite details. She began to realize that she was in a completely new place. Yul noticed that this place more magnificent palace, where she was earlier. Spacious, the rooms and rich furnishings made her think about where she turned out to be. She collected strength and decided, find out what this place is. Full determination, she prepared to search answers, despite the wave emotions that overwhelmed her. Yul, having made her way into the room, noticed that the owner, is not just a man, but a noble magician with influence. The realization made her think about his status and possibilities. She was stunned seen. In front of her was a man in informal clothes that made her heart rapidly to fight. She couldn't understand why he was so calm. Yul wondered how much behaved naturally relaxed in his room. It was surprising, that present stranger. The man didn't bother him at all, and he didn't even try hide. Having collected her thoughts, Yul decided to start a conversation. Persistent sight indicated a desire to clarify the situation in which she turned up unexpectedly. Yul expressed her opinion, his guesses assuming that he is an important figure in the magical world. His mysterious smile caused her more questions about his character. The man calmly asked what she does in his room. There was no tone in his voice, threats but politeness, combined with light severity, emphasizing its strength. Yul, not being afraid, confidently asked him to come closer. However, her requirement met good-natured mockingly. He suggested that she take the step herself. I sensed a hint of irony in his answer, but I noticed that his the behavior clearly reflects self-confidence. He was not in a hurry, but his words sounded convincing. Yul noticed that the man was talking about rules in his tower, emphasizing they're unlike the rest of the world. When I realized that the magical world lives by its own laws. The man reminded her to watch her manners and words, because here all obeys strict rules. Yul realized that she had entered a world where every word has weight. Yul thought about her character, wondering what was wrong. Her face reflects doubts she is trying. Realize their feelings, asking yourself questions, why seems simultaneously confused and tense. Appears with a look and a gloomy aura. His characteristics contrast with Yul's behavior. She feels that his charisma is too much overwhelming, but it only emphasizes her softness. The man approaches closer. His tone becomes softer. Yul is not sure how to react, however. His calmness makes her feel some strange warmth. She hesitant but open to communication. Yule and the man find themselves alone in the magic atmosphere filled with light. He tries to touch her faces, his look focused and deep. Yule is embarrassed, but does not move away. Her bright purple eyes look straight at him. She asks does not mock whether because his attention seems to her to be persistent and too much straightforward. Causes confusion in hers. He admits that he doesn't see her face, and the energy pulsating in her tele. Yule is surprised, but his honesty makes her think about it. Look, men become softer. He explains that Yule's energy reminds Cloud, her face hidden, but she feels his words reflected in her soul. Both as if see each other in a new way, light. The man steps forward, asking if he can cross-border their silent agreements. His voice sounds respectful and warm, as if he is afraid to frighten the moment. Yule agrees, but only for a short time. Her words are filled, doubts however. She opened to trust him, though would for a short time. The man is careful, concerns her faces, apologizing for their persistence. Between them arises the closeness in which mixed up embarrassment, warmth, and something more than just mutual curiosity. Christian thoughtfully concerns Yule's face, suspecting that he really sees nothing. In her head rushes by the idea that makes her doubt what is happening. Suddenly, in front of Yule, the image of a woman with blue eyes appears with her eyes. She notices that the girl looks like Estella and guesses that this is related to the fact that Christian is her partner. What gives meeting mystery? Christian, frowning slightly, recalls that Yule asked about the place where they are located. He reluctantly admits that this imperial palace. What makes Yule think about his personality? He calmly explains that this is his bedroom. Surprising Yule. In hers, I can't wrap my head around that she is located in the Imperial Chambers Palace. That leaves her shocked and confused. Yule begins analyze situation. She understands that excluding famous members, imperial families remain only two. The emperor himself and the crown prince, that more confuses her. Reflecting, Yule understands that she is the crown prince, would have recognized it immediately. Therefore, in front of her be only someone else from royal families, whom she doesn't remember, seizes Yule. Perhaps the emperor himself is standing before her. This assumption makes her feel excitement after all. This explained would be his status and environment. Christian calmly hands Yule a cup of tea, apologizing for the fact that forgot to introduce myself. That adds intrigue to his mysterious personalities. With ease, with a grin, Christian admits that he is not the emperor that irritates Yule. She is indignant and demands that he not laugh at her feeling myself awkward. Finally, Christian introduces himself. He is Prince Christian Victor Silverio. Yule is shocked to realize that there is no one in front of her other than the crown prince's half-brother, known his eccentricity. Yule, with silver hair and purple with eyes, thoughtfully watched forward, realizing that she couldn't recognize someone important. Her sight was full of confusion and anxiety, as if she faced with an unexpected mystery. In this time, mysterious man with scratched face and gloomy with a glance stood in the shadows, Scarlet Hall. His clothes was decorated fur and chains, and an aura around him was frightening. Yule realized that the future seen through the stone mana, it was distorted. Her foresight touched only main heroes, leaving them in the shadows, the rest. This understanding made Yule feel worry, because outside her visions could be hidden something threatening. Christian, with white hair and gray with eyes, calmly drank tea, mysteriously smiling. His behavior caused Yule even more questions, especially after her unexpected visit to his room. He suggested that her appearance related to magic movements, mysterious light. The magic circle confirmed his words, reminding him of ancient spells. Yule was surprised to hear about magic movements, and Christian affirmatively nodded. His calmness only strengthened her internal voltage. Christian told that once upon a time, leaving Castle Marquise together with Estella, they drew magic circle in the bedroom. Childhood memories came alive before Yule's eyes. He noticed that the magic circle may not have been there yet. Erased. His voice sounded calmly, but in it was felt hidden confidence. Yule asked anxiously if he would be able to leave. She will return back with the help, this magic Christian thoughtfully answered question, doubting her ability to control magic. Yule admitted that she does not own magic after all. She total only guinea pig. Christian coldly concluded that in such a case, today she won't be able to return to the palace Marquise. Christian, with a slight smile, watches Yule and wonders how she managed to take advantage magic move and get there here. He admits that if she won't be able to activate magic circle, Then we'll have to wait until the morning till she could have left back in the cart. Yule was surprised. Reminds Christian what he himself said about using magic circle. There is a note of urgency in her voice, bewilderment, because this seems illogical. She starts wonder question why all happened. That's exactly it. Christian lowers look and admits that lost magic when went blind. His confession is filled with bitterness, because along with magic, he lost important part. His life and his voice sounds quiet and restrained. Yule is stunned. The realization that Christian lost magic due to blindness, it forces her think about the reasons for his current situation and caused a feeling in her compassion. Yule pops up in my thoughts, injustice. Despite the fact that Christian was the eldest son, Heir Prince became his junior stepbrother. This makes her feel vague suspicion that behind this is hiding something more. She reflects that lost magic and vision, certainly a serious problem, but not so much as to lose the right to the throne. With the magicians and the resources of the palace, he would be cured, if someone wanted to help. However, Christian quietly adds that nobody from the magicians were unable to heal his eyes and restore his magical strength. His voice sounds resignedly, as if he had resigned himself to the fact that help unattainable. He apologizes to Yule for not being able to immediately send her back to the palace. Marquise promises that in the morning, when the gates will open, he will prepare a carriage for her. In his words, one can hear regret. Yule is lost in thought, wondering why magic carried her away exactly here. She thoughtfully agrees with the proposal, Christiana, but in her head are emerging new questions. Her thoughts full worries. Where would she? Didn't get it? Her surround oddities and mysteries. The feeling that behind this is hidden, something more intensifies, forcing her search answers. Yule thought about the fact that she was in a difficult situation. Position turn out to be only those who really got into trouble. The thought made her feel easy, anxiety about the upcoming at night. Christian suggested Yule to rest, pointing to the bed in the room. He calmly noticed that it was late, and she was better to sleep, thereby showing taking care of her condition. Yule was embarrassed, remembering that this is his bedroom, and I wondered why in the room only one bed. She couldn't shake the feeling awkwardness, and she quietly apologized for her confusion. Christian soft smiled, and with interest asked where she was, thinks he will sleep. His calmness and goodwill slightly confused Yule's. He laughed when he noticed her excitement, and asked why she's so worried. Yule, a little embarrassed, reminded that this is his bedroom and that's it. That's why she worried. Christian assured Yule that she shouldn't worry. He suggested spend the night in the neighboring room so as not to cause her inconvenience, showing his delicacy. He opened door to the next door room and explained that earlier this was his personal room, but now it's empty so he can spend the night there. Having entered inside, he found that the room is empty. This has caused Yule to be surprised, and I was worried that he was going to sleep on the bare floor. Christian, with warm smile, assured her, what's wrong with him will be fine, and asked, don't worry, just calmly to rest. His care touched Yule. Yule couldn't stay indifferent. Her anxiety only got worse, and she stated that better will remain here because it's difficult for her. Be calm knowing that Christian will sleep in discomfort. Yule is in a panic, refuses break the rules out of fear, go to jail. However, Christian calmly reminds her that this her bed and offers calmly to rest. He wishes her peace, nights and promises. See each other in the morning. What makes girl think about it? Smiling, Christian soft agrees and says goodbye until the morning. His friendly tone causes mixed feelings in Yule. And she gradually starts trust to him, although it remains wary. Waking up in the morning, Yule remembers what happened and understands that she experienced something incredible. Her thoughts get confused, and she feels like is growing worry about the future. Yule learns that in the palace live powerful magicians and their partners. The magnificence of the castle is amazing her imagination, but also enhances her alarm because of the fact that she found herself in such a situation, dangerous and important place. Christian warns Yule about the consequences staying in the palace without permission. If her will find out, that will create problems for the Marquis Dimitris. This is caring. His attitude towards her makes Yule think about his motives. Yule was surprised, realizes that Christian is a prince. His calm tone and farewell words, with a wish, carefully return to cause her more questions about his true intentions. Looking out the window, Yule wonders if he will be able to avoid similar situations, if will run away. Her dreams of peace life, everything seems to her more unattainable, and she starts doubt your plan. Yule understands that she, all more connected magic with someone important. Even if she will decide run away, these magical, the bonds will not allow her to escape meetings with this a person. Yule decides what she needs urgently, master magic. Otherwise, when there will be a chance to escape, she may miss it. Her determination is getting stronger, and she preparing for new ones tests. Arriving in the new place, Yule is amazed by the majestic building in front of you. This spectacle causes her shock and anxiety, and she cannot to believe that I found myself in such a situation, dangerous and mysterious place. Castle Marquise was destroyed beyond recognition. Cracks, covered walls, and windows gaped emptiness. Yule with horror realized that this really that most palace. She was overcome with anxiety, feeling unknowns. Yule couldn't understand how this could happen in one day. Place turned into ruins. Heart shrank from fear of the solution. What happened? The mystery of this destruction frightened her. All more. Yule, hesitating before entering, was tormented by doubts. She was overcome by gloomy thoughts, but she tried to convince herself that all it will be okay if she will step over threshold. However, uncertainty did not leave her. Kal appeared in front of Yule. His eyes were burning anger. He interrupts her reflection and requires explanations without hiding irritations. His tension scares Yule, forcing her think about his intentions. Kal approaches Yule and demands to speak, his voice full of aggression. He is not going to listen, excuses, but wants to hear the truth. Yule feels myself helpless before his onslaught. Kal squeezes jaws. His voice becomes more harsher. He wants to know what's going on in Yule's head without hiding it. His rage Yule does not understand that caused in him such anger. Yule is overcome with fear. Eyes are filling up anxiety. She can't understand that happened and why Kal is so angry. This moment seems dangerous and threatening to her. Kal, with irony, notices that around him always are happening strange things. His words sound threateningly, hinting that he suspects Yule of involvement in what is happening. Kal grins evilly, wondering question of how stupid Yule thinks he is. His face distorts anger and resentment. He realizes that was guess about her intentions. Everything that what Yule did was aimed at making him lose vigilance awareness. This makes him feel bitter disappointment. Yule squeezes his hand resolutely, tuning in to clear up the misunderstanding that hung over between her and Kal. In her look, readable solid intention to end misunderstanding. Kal accuses Yule of, she suppressed his wariness. She responded with indignation, denies this, insisting that she didn't do it, nothing like that. And his accusations deprived meaning. Kal frowns at the fact that Yule has hidden her magical ability from him. His eyes full mistrust and suspicion. He demands explanations. Yule is at a loss, denies the prosecution, stating that she doesn't know how to use magic. She assures that, if I could, I would have run away, long ago, would. Kal hard requires truth, accusing her in a lie. Yule seized emotions, exclaims that, I have never studied magic, and am simply not capable of it. Her use. Kal does not calm down and demands explain how Yule managed to leave the palace with the help of magic movements. His voice sounds cold and insistent. Yule is confused. She replies that she herself does not understand how this happened. She closed eyes and suddenly found herself in Christian's bedroom, not realizing how exactly moved. Having heard name Christian, Kal becomes wary and asks the question is, who this such? His look becomes more tense, and the voice is full of hidden worries. Yule is stunned, the situation like a bolt from the blue. She feels increasing tension and notices that instead of her started cry, heavens like reflecting her internal state. Yule tries with despair in his voice, explain Kaliu, who did not leave the palace of her own free will. She does not understand why he decided to otherwise, and tries to convey his sincerity. Kal costs under pouring rain with cold expression faces. His eyes sparkle determination, despite the drops water running down his cheeks. He wasn't going to let up on Yule and her vigilance that emphasizes his inner struggle and seriousness intentions. Kal gently takes Yule's hand, as if conveying his determination to her. This gesture shows that he is ready act and will not leave her alone. His act symbolizes the beginning of something important. He offers her to unite efforts to cope with the impending difficulties. Estella runs into the room with alarm on her face when she sees Yule. She's scared and worried about her, sincerely apologizing and asking everything. Is she okay? Excitement reflects care and closeness. Connection with Yule, emphasizing importance their relations. Yule is surprised looks at Estella, who explains that she was delayed while receiving permission to use magic. Estella feels guilty that she couldn't return to the castle right away, and sincerely asks forgiveness. Her words are full regrets and worries. Yule is relieved smiles, assuring that she is fine. However, her curiosity gets the better of her, and she is set. The question is, what is it? Permission to use magic. Her interest emphasizes that she's not finished, yet understands what is happening. Alexei explains that for use, big volume magic required permission from the Emperor. He remembers how much time it's been, a while since arrival. Alexei to the palace, and notices that he's still there, located here, hinting at seriousness situations. Estella, with a light smile, says that she wanted, with the help of magic, restore palace before returning father. For this, she went to the Imperial Palace for permission, and Alexei helped her in this help. Their interaction emphasizes mutual trust. Yule is amazed that Estella, I was going to solve all the problems on my own palace. Makes her feel admiration, but also concern for her friend. She thinks about what is happening and feels how much. All seriously, Alexei, surprised, reacts to Yule's ignorance. He can't believe that she really doesn't know that happened. His reaction expresses mixture confusion and light anxiety. Increasing tension moment. Yule, with curiosity, asks what happened overnight. Her question emphasizes bewilderment and desire to understand the reasons total what happened. The look is full of surprise and alertness. Yule, looking into the bottomless dark space. I thought about that. She doesn't know. Her thoughts, anxious, wandered, awakening doubts and fears. The silence seemed frightening, but enveloping her darkness created feeling as if something important eludes her. Alexei, standing on the contrary, reservedly said that she really knows nothing. His look was both stern and alarming. Then he mentioned name. Archduke. This word sounded like a key to a hidden secret, making Yule tense up. The atmosphere in the room was becoming tense. Estella hesitated to speak, torn between curiosity and fear. Alexei, feeling increasing tension, tried save cool, but something in the air suggested that situation only becomes more complicated. Yule timidly apologized, feeling that I missed something. In this time, Kahl, standing nearby, staring, looked at her. His red eyes expressed anxiety. There was a silent feeling between them. Understanding that ahead, waiting difficult talk, Yule looked at the surrounding atmosphere, full of mystery and tension. Thoughts were racing. Who destroyed everything in the palace? She tried to understand the motives, the culprit, but the answers seemed unattainable, as if hidden in the shadows. I wondered why Kahl and Alexei are trying to hide the truth. Looking at them, she felt mixture mistrust and guilt. Yule wanted to figure it out, but something stopped her. As if the fear of finding out the truth was stronger. Her determination. Estella tried to diffuse the situation, but her words sounded timid. She suggested that Yule, having found herself in the palace, experienced strong fright. However, her attempt, it seemed to support Yule, insufficient to make it easier, increasing voltage. Yule recalled a magic circle drawn in the room. It has never been activated in 5 years, but now suddenly earned. I was puzzled why. This happened exactly now, without imagining how explain this to the rest. She apologized to those around me, awkwardly smiling. Her words sounded uncertain, but she tried to hide your fear. In her eyes was read anxiety, but also determination. Figure out what's going on. Kahl, with a glance. He replied that earlier was carefree, but now he regretted what had happened. His red eyes expressed deep sadness. He sincerely felt sorry for Yule. Realizing that ahead, they're waiting new tests. Yule and Alexei are talking after completion business. The girl was tired, but her efforts bring warmth. Alexei soft advises her to rest, so that restore forces. The atmosphere between them is full light and care. Yule wakes up, not right away, realizing that took it upon myself yesterday, too much. A lot of her thoughts filled concern about the renovation of the palace that had begun. She recalls how she got permission for this, a difficult task. Kahl is next to Yule all night. When young woman understands this, is she surprised and slightly embarrassed? Her thoughts full questions. What made him stay and take care of her? Yule begins think about Kayla. She notices that he has his own room, but he prefers to be in hers. This calls contradictory emotions. from embarrassment to misunderstanding. Yul recalls how, because of the past events, they're moved to a separate building. Now there is emptiness around them, and the servants do not appear like earlier. This creates feeling isolation and enhances mystery what is happening. She wonders about Kal's motives. Perhaps he fears that she again will disappear. There are no magic items in the room, circles, and this only enhances her questions about his behavior. Estella calls Yul, interrupting her thoughts. The image of the girl full of energy lifts mood. Their friendly dialogue filled liveliness and lightness. Yul is in a hurry, change clothes to meet Estella. They greet each other warmly, and Estella, like always, radiates joy. The atmosphere is filled coziness. Kal asks Yul questions about her well-being after a tired day. She confirms that everything is fine, and Estella supports hers. Theirs talk brings sincere relief. Yul wants to share something important. Her request interrupts cheerful conversation. Kal cautiously monitors development events, adding tension and intrigue. Estella, charming, smiling, she said that prepared everything necessary for the new inhabitant of the house. Her! The soft voice sounded with care and warmth, as if she strove warm up his own attention each. Leanthus, carefully placing gift boxes in a spacious hall, emphasized that everything was already organized. The atmosphere around filled with bright colors and promise something magical. Estella, making a slight gesture, suggested to all go with her. Her kindness, like her charming look, invited into a new mysterious world, hidden behind the doors. This, a majestic mansion. Yul felt voltage. Kal sat in the dark corner, clearly displeased. There was silence between them, filled silent protest. She couldn't understand that exactly worried him. Kal looked closely, looking at Yul. He asked, cutting question, forcing girl feel myself awkward. His red eyes were glowing cold determination, but they hid it something more deep. Yul defiantly stated that she had no intention to stay here alone. She firmly decided, follow Estella, showing his affection and readiness for any changes. Kal remained behind, but reluctantly followed them. Yul noticed that his genuine jealousy mixed with irritation that caused a slight feeling in her smile. Leanthus, with joy, met Estella. His eyes were glowing devotion. Bowing his head before her, he said that waited this moment. His gestures spoke of deep respect. Estella asked Leanthus, with interest, did he do it? Whether he accepted her request. Yul, watching them, felt a pang of jealousy, but this only made it stronger determination to understand the meaning what is happening. Leanthus, opening before Estella decorated boxes, said that completed assignment inside them, as if the stars were sparkling jewels symbolizing a new chapter in their lives. Yul, a girl with white hair and purple with eyes, attentively listened to Stella, who gave her a mysterious stone. It was glowing soft blue light and turned out to be a symbol of protection. Yul felt that thing unusually valuable. In stone, the sign of the family was hidden. Dimitri's, who served confirmation personalities. Yul, surprised by his magical shining, she realized that in front of her was the key to a new life. Estella explained that without it, she would be, it's hard in this world. Looked at him with trepidation, Stone noting how it reminded her of an important document. She thanked Estella, amazed care and attention. This has opened doors to the unknown for her. The next surprise was luxurious. A bag. Yule unfolded it, and inside were discovered sparkling coins. The quantity was astounding, and she was surprised by the generosity. Estella, who called it a few, Yule realized that she had a significant condition. Estella assured that money enough for the first time, but promised help if will be required. Yule looked at the gold, not believing what was happening. Yule sincerely was delighted. Generosity, Estella, calling her angel. She felt gratitude for that. Now she has support in the person of this beautiful girls. Estella also introduced Yule, 2 knights who should accompany her beyond palace. She explained that, in the city, there may be. It's dangerous, that's why I need to be careful. Yule promised follow advice, but she noted with embarrassment that help Estella. It seems too much to her generous, Estella. Only soft smiled, assuring that everything was fine. Kal, a young man with black hair and red. With his eyes, he looked at Yule with interest. Suddenly, he scared her sharp movement. Yule is frightened, she screamed, but Kal seemed to only was having fun. Yule, although she was confused by the surprise, understood that Kal was not hostile. His gloomy sight hid warm a spark that hinted that he would become important part her new life. Yule, sitting in his room, looked at Kal with a slight irritability. She didn't understand why he doesn't care money and offered give away them to her if he doesn't need her discontent. Atmosphere was getting stronger. Call attentively looked at Yule, surprised in her words. He asked why money is so important to her. Why she replied that of course she needed them, but their application she more ponders. Yule, remembering their dreams, imagined how these money will be able to find comfort and peace. It seemed to her that new house will be the beginning of a new life, where she finally will find freedom. Her plan involved usage remaining funds for the well-being existence, while she won't find work. I was glad that we'll not have to worry about hunger, but preferred not to share their own thoughts. Yule understood that her ideas can meet resistance with sides Kalia. She was afraid that his reaction will unpredictable, because he seemed too much to her persistent and relentless. Kal thought about it, and then suddenly stated that current position he is not satisfied with the affairs. His tone was decisive, and Yule felt lung, worrying not understanding his intentions. Unexpectedly, he suggested take a walk, then caught girl by surprise. Yule was surprised by his offer, but inside felt curiosity and some spark joy from the possible changes. She admitted to herself that she was tired of being confined to the room. Yule enthusiastically supported her idea, walking feeling that this is a chance at least for a short time break out from a confined space. However, memory of the warning, Estella, what go out, can only with security forced her to think about. It's hard to suppress anxiety and focus on the moment ahead. Yule looked at Kal, torn between caution and desire. Break free. She felt that ahead, there waiting something important. But I didn't know what to do next. Yule, with shining smile, offers Kalu take a walk together, creating an atmosphere of lightness. Her sincerity as if infects, but Kal saves calmness. His look hides reflections. A magical aura surrounds the couple, hinting at a secret. Yule notices the magic emanating from Kal, and in surprise wonders when he learned to control it. Her eyes are burning curiosity, and Kal would be unperturbed, but his calmness hides a lot. Kal, it is recognized that could use magic from the very beginning. Yule is amazed and stunned this revelation. She almost screams in surprise, unable to believe what he heard, because this changes everything that she knew. Yule's thoughts return to the moment when she saw Magic Kalia. She reflects on how easily he controlled her, destroying her assumptions. The internal monologue reveals her doubts and admiration for his abilities. Yule is amazed at how Kal, never studying magic, still uses it so natural. She feels myself used and trying to understand how such perhaps view her filled suspicion and surprise. Kal leads Yule along the bright street, confidently setting the route. Yule is amazed that he knows the way, she doubts where. They go, but not knowing where to go, trusts Kalu. Yule is confused, realizes that asks Kalia, where? To go without knowing answer. Kal in turn only smiles clearly, understanding her embarrassment, adding a touch of irony to their dialogue. Yule can't stand it and expresses indignation upon seeing calm expression faces Kalia. Her emotional reaction contrasts with his composure, causing splash tension in their conversation. She turns attention to his confidence and begins wonder where from Kal knows the way. Her internal questions become all more persistently. For now, she doesn't feel that his knowledge hides something more. Yule is impressed, lively market, that they visit crowds of people, and their energy surprise her, and she realizes how much many events passes by her. This walk becomes for her the discovery of a new world. Yule, a girl with white hair and purple. With his eyes, he notices strange sound. She worried not realizing that happens, and starts look around in search source noise. Her attention captivates unexpected feeling, anxiety. Suddenly, Kal, a man with black hair and red eyes, appears in front of Yule, instantly appearing next to him. The girl looks at him in amazement and fear, not understanding that happens, but feels its power. Yule is stunned by his sudden appearance and requires explanations as to why he did it so unexpectedly intervened. Her voice trembled from the mixture, surprise and irritation, but Kal keeps silent, firmly holding her. Yule notices that Kal's expression faces weird changed. Her intuition suggests that is happening something important, and she starts analyze situation, trying to understand the motives men. Gradually, Yule realizes that Kal only that saved her. Its opening makes her feel internal struggle. It's difficult for her express gratitude because his methods, they scare her. Kal gently holds her hand. Yule is embarrassed and doesn't know how to react. She thanks him for his help, but asks let go, feeling myself awkward in his presence. Yule mentally scolds Kalia, calling him a psycho for attacking the cart. The situation looked like terrifying. Magic destroyed the carriage, but fortunately, there were no people inside. Yule analyzes consequences, magical destruction. She admits that a disaster will happen if there would be passengers in the carriage. Voltage grows from these thoughts. Although Yule wants to express your own indignation, Kalushi understands that he saved her. Therefore decides restrain oneself, mentally promising that this the only time when she forgives him for his actions. In the end, Yule reflects on his day. She just wanted to rest, but everything it didn't go according to plan. She looks at the Sun Street, understanding how events sharp changed her mood and plans. Yule notices bookstore, and with joy offers to come in, but Kal suddenly disappears. This makes her feel confusion and light panic. She looks around, trying to figure out where he went, and feels myself confused. Yule discovers Kali is nearby. He is waiting her with a look, and asks question why she doesn't come in. She embarrassedly explains that only I was going to, but his harsh tone made me restrain yourself. Once inside, Yule is surprised change in behavior. Kalia. She can't understand why he's become so distant. She reflects, is connectedly. It's with them, joint time in the palace, and feels easy anxiety. Yule is trying focus on books but stressed sight Kalia. Because of her backs interferes with her. She is trying distracted but feels pressure. Asks him to stop looking like that, although he advises not to pay attention. Her sight falls on an old book that she carefully pulls it out from the shelf. Yule thinks about what she needs, concentrate, but attention again, rivets presence Kalia, who as if is hiding something. Yule decides to buy several books, including some on magic. She asks seller calculate cost, that reports that you will have to pay 20 rubles for 4 books, which makes her think about the exchange rate. Yule's bag is overflowing gold coins, and she confused trying to figure out how to exchange them to local money. Questions about the ratio prices cause her lung confusion and internal dispute. Call without waiting. Yule's answer reports the seller a coin that turns out equivalent to 1,000 rubles. Seller offers to return the change, which causes a new one in Yule wave bewilderment. Call intently looks at Yule, suspecting that she maybe understand the value of gold is better than it seems. His questions become more personal, and his attention to detail makes her feel internal discomfort. Yule begins notice that Kal is becoming more and more suspicious. She is set, the question is how does he know local prices, and why his silence makes her feeling like he's hiding much more than shows. Yule, with white hair and purple, stood in front of the counter, with her eyes waiting his cues. The seller finally turned to her, apologizing for the long wait. Waiting girl looked like a little confused, but in her eyes was red interest. Salesman carefully handed Yule a bundle of books and change, thanked her for shopping in their store. Warm light illuminated carefully a tied package. Coins lay nearby, symbolizing completed deal. Yule thought, remembering how earlier in the tower, she has magicians was many books. But for the first time, she spent the money on the books herself. Let it's not hers. Actually earned money, but still it has filled her special feeling. Light a smile appeared on Yule's face when she realized that maybe live usual life after leaving the tower, Magav. Around her blossomed flowers, creating an atmosphere of peace and hope for the new future. Suddenly, a man with black hair and red eyes approached her eyes. Kal. He was surprised, said her name. Yule suddenly became wary, feeling strange energy and realizing that he was lying. The girl noticed in the crowd familiar figure. The Master Towers, his smug. The smile made Yule's heart beat faster. She couldn't believe it, his own eyes wondering the question of why he is here. Kal Sharp grabbed Yule by the hand, and they ran away. Panic seized the girl because stay. Here was dangerous, the only one the thought that was spinning in her mind head. It is necessary, run. They raced through the streets, and Kal Yule hurried, explaining that if they slow down Master Towers, necessarily, there will notice girl. She clutched her books in her hands, feeling her fear grow stronger. Pausing for a moment, Kal looked like thoughtful, and Yule, having caught her breath, asked fearfully, had she seen, is he, the Master Towers? Her voice trembled with anxiety and uncertainty. Kal, with cold confidence, looked at her and asked, is it true? Is this a problem? Yule froze, not understanding his calmness in such a situation. dangerous situations. Her, my heart was pounding with mixed emotions, feelings. Yule stood in front of Kal, tensely, looking into his cold look. He is indifferent, said that he doesn't see problems in presence. Owner towers. These words made the girl think about it. After all, situation was far from being so simple. Internal Yule's experiences intensified. She tried convince yourself that they have nothing to talk about worry. However, thoughts about the past did not let go. They left the tower because we're selected. Estella, and now no longer connected, magical seal. Yule reflected that despite the status of the owner towers, he can't anymore dictate them their conditions. However, the anxiety did not go away. She was worried that random meeting, maybe reawaken the rage, Kalia. How this has already happened earlier. But Kal remained calm. He is cool, noted that he does not see meaning, encounter unpleasant people. It is more. I was wondering why Master Towers turned out to be here after all. To him, forbidden leave, magical tower. Perhaps there were other magicians with him. Yule is indignant, flared up when Kal, without permission, took her books. She angrily demanded explanations as to why he decided to touch her things. However, Kal was unperturbed and didn't pay attention to her anger. He calmly assured Yule that he was not going to select books. Then, after thinking for a moment, Kal said that I remembered one place where must go with her. This is intrigued girl. Yule is surprised, asked again why he was obliged. Go there, Kal reminded her that she herself asked him if there was Lee place where he would like to get there. And so now he decided that, that place. Young woman? She admitted with confusion that I really asked that question, but did not expect such an answer. Kal, not wanting, Titan handed her the box and offered to go there. Kal suggested not to delay and go to this special place. He emphasized that he had no other plans, all equally no, and reservedly asked where the place he remembered is here. They approached the picturesque embankment with bridges and sparkling water. Yule, with admiration, looked at the view that opened up, and Kal, remaining calm, asked, does she need it? Place. Yule was surprised, asks Kalia. How did he know about the existence rivers? Because he is here for the first time. Her eyes full curiosity, after all, place seems mysterious. Kal calmly explains that this not a river at all, but traces magic that he easily senses. His calm voice makes Yule think. It opens up before them, picturesque canal, shimmering magical light. Kal notices that this water created with magic that only enhances mystery places. Yule, with admiration, looks at the sparkling water and realizes that shine on her surfaces are traces magic. She is amazed by it opening. Despite the fact that the channel is artificially created, Magic Yule considers it incredible, beautiful. Her face glows joy, and she enjoying the moment. Kal thoughtfully says that Yule apparently forgot something. His look becomes serious, as if he was remembering something important. Yule is surprised, asks again what he said. Not understanding what he was getting at, eyes full bewilderment. Kal is going to leave, but Yule was indignant, asks why he leaves so quickly, because they only... What came? Her words are full bewilderment. Kal confidently replies that he has already checked what he wanted. He admits that for a long time I doubted it. But now, finally, I was convinced of my suspicions. Yule persistently wonders what he was convinced of, and jokingly asks why his mood is so sharp, changed. Kal sighs and calls her stop chat and move on. Yule, with surprise, notices that they only arrived and she doesn't understand why Kal already wants leave. She is being asked, the question is, doesn't he have any desires or goals that he would like to achieve after liberation from towers? Kal thoughtfully answers that I never thought about that I would like to do. There is a hint of confusion, as if for the first time faces a similar thought, and this causes him easy anxiety. Yule softly offers him, right now, think about your own desires. She sits down on a bench, relaxed, watching Kal, pushing him to think about what to him really wanted would do. Yule, with a smile, suggests Kali what now? The most time to fulfill what he had long dreamed of, finding himself free. Her words sound inspiring and awaken in him new thoughts. Kal slightly smiles, agreeing with her idea. He understands that this really, it's nice to allow yourself to do it something for one's own sake, pleasures. Reflecting on Yule's words, Kal agrees that this is actually not bad idea. They sit in silence, but this silence is unexpected. It turns out to be comfortable for Yule, although earlier she felt would myself awkward. Yule, looking at Kal, looked at him with surprised notes. its attractiveness. Internally, she admits that if it weren't for his difficult character, then to him impossible would find fault. She dreamily thinks that if Wood was on site, Kalia then definitely took advantage of would be his beautiful appearance, so that conquer sympathies surrounding. Yule, approaching closer, notices what Kal has long hair, and with a slight surprise thinks does not interfere Lee. Him, her attention to detail causes him lung confusion. Kal, slightly blushing awkwardly, answers her question. His lung embarrassment makes the moment even more touching, giving their communication special sincerity. Kal thoughtfully looked away, remembering something important. A slight blush on his cheeks gave out excitement, but quiet confirmation their own thoughts as if gave away his inner conflict. Yule asked Kal with uncertainty in her voice. "Do you like it?" Lee to him, short hair. Her purple eyes sparkled expectation answer, as if his opinion was important to her. She tried to explain that her words about long hair did not mean dislike. Just long, the hair caused discomfort in the heat, so she decided that better would get a haircut. Kal frowned, thought for a moment, and noted that what Yule was saying was not what really thinks his insightful sight hinted at desire. Hear from her sincere answer. Yule slightly. She was confused, but still admitted that he was right. Thoughtfully touched of your hair, like checking to what extent they cause her inconvenience, and she thought about her comfort. Suddenly, her eyes filled up with confidence. She admitted without a doubt that longer hair doesn't bother her, and she feels comfortable stay, such as what she there is. Kal froze in surprise, not expecting such confidence from Yule. His face froze in the lung confusion, as if he didn't know how react to her determination. Yule laughed sincerely, enjoying his confused reaction. Her laughter was light and sincere, filling the atmosphere with warmth and carelessness. She teased him cheerfully. Yule, without hiding fun, noticed that Kal looks like, now, especially funny. Her voiced laughter echo was carried away around making the moment even more warm and alive. Immersed in a relaxing bath, Yule enjoyed, sighed. She felt myself free and happy, like for the first time. For real, enjoyed usual life and its simple joys. Yule thought with relief that all was what ideally if I wouldn't have crossed paths with the owner towers. The meeting left her with disturbing a feeling that didn't give me any peace. While in the bath, Yule reflected that although nothing terrible happened, the meeting with him left an unpleasant aftertaste. She decided follow advice Kalia and try forget about it. Yule, with pleasure, noted how comfortable to use magic. If they were walking, that's it took many time, but with magic they got there in a second. Now having money, she dreamed live alone and study magic. In her eyes flared up determination. Yule understood that should how can quicker run away. Calm Kalia. It was alarming and she felt that should be extremely careful. She realized that Kal hasn't changed, and that's it. Moore remained main villain. Despite external changes, he could show his true colors at any moment essence. After relaxing, Yule felt the bath's lightness and freshness. She was ready for a new day, unaware of the impending difficulties. Leanthus, sitting on the bed, suspiciously asked Yule where she walked with Kal. His wariness caused her anxiety. Yule was struck by the guess. She was overcome with excitement, and she wondered if it was possible her suspicions will be justified. Leanthus reminded Yule that Madame ordered take security at the exit. His words made her think about it. Didn't forget Lee. She's talking about it, important indication. Leanthus seriously warned that if Madame finds out about her escape, then he will throw the whole army at her searches. These words sounded like threat, making Yule feel seriousness situations. Yule thought, realizing that someone so much powerful as Estella, I wouldn't worry because of the usual urban detachment security. This made her wary and think about the real threat. Leanthus worriedly explained that Estella doesn't even suspect about them exit out. This brought him, it's a relief after all. There the actions remained hidden, which gave them advantage in the current situations. Yule was surprised because Estella was feel their mana. This fact seemed strange and alarming, her forcing think about it. Not hidden, is there anyone behind this? Something more. Yule began to suspect that maybe Lee Estella at all feel their mana. This thought caused her anxiety because magical sensitivity, Estella could play important role in their plans. Leanthus hesitated, remembering events. He admitted that situation has changed after their leaving, hinting that what happened could have influenced perception Estella. It turned out that to the palace arrived Master Towers. His unexpected appearance caused worry. because his visit could change, move events, and explain strange behavior, Estella. Estella was confused, out of necessity, interact with the owner towers. This has distracted her attention so much so that she didn't notice the disappearance of Yule and Leanthus. Yule was stunned news about the visit owner towers. The anxiety increased because she couldn't understand why he came and what threat it could carry. Companion reminded that them should were inform about upcoming checks. This moment strengthened tension after all the unknown of what exactly to be passed called anxiety. Yule asked with concern about the nature of these checks. Uncertainty situations started to arouse in her fear of the unknown and possible tests. Yule thoughtfully listens. Leanthus that can't answer her question. He explains that heard only about someone's intentions to check something, but without details. This causes Yule to feel anxious and tense. Leanthus notices her anxiety and tries reassure. He is confident states that there is no reason to worry. However, Yule is still looks like worried, immersed in her own thoughts. Yule and Leanthus watch as Master Towers leaves after Estella refused him. Leanthus, Yule assures that them no more need face it. A person that should her calm down. Yule asks Leanthus, maybe she tell about what happened. Kailu Leanthus calmly agrees, showing his confidence in the correctness this solutions. Leanthus thoughtfully recalls that happened events caused certain circumstances, hinting at hidden the motives for which everything turned out that way. Yule is surprised that earlier, Leanthus didn't think about her health, advising it's good to dry your hair so as not to get sick, because this upset with their madame. This creates a warm and caring atmosphere between them. In the dark appears a mysterious man who inspires calmness. He promises that nobody from there will be no remaining in the tower touched, regardless of choice. Mistresses, towers. Yule reflects on the strangeness behavior the owner towers. He suddenly let go them, what makes her feel anxiety. Never earlier magicians were not released without verification, and she is being asked question about his true intentions. Feeling increasing worry, Yule understands that how can quicker tell about to all Kailu? This solution becomes for her priority. Noticing Leanthus with Estella, Yule wonders why they together. The atmosphere between them is confusing, and she feels like she's witnessed something that shouldn't was see. Yule, sliding along the dark corridor, stops in front of a glowing door. Her heart overcrowded, disturbing thoughts. Something is wrong, as if shadows around live his life, whispering strange words. Stepping onto the cold marble, she feels uncertainty. Thoughts would get confused. Her step becomes slow. Why this place seems so strange to her? Her hand trembles, clinging to the hem of her dress. Yule, be careful, looks around the setting. Mirrors on the walls, columns what reach for the ceiling. Usually Kal would have done it long ago. I found it, but now it's somewhere nearby, invisible, as if is watching from afar. Unexpected feeling, the weight on her shoulders makes Yule stagger. Ahead flickers red mantle, and its consciousness fogs up. A sudden stab of fear mixed with an inexplicable warmth. Awakening brings awareness. She lies on the bed, in the head pulsate strange memories. Why she feels herself like that? Deep down inside, she feels like this related to it, but the answers slip away. Her attention distracts. Kal suddenly appeared in the room. His voice is calm, but his gaze persistent. Yule screams in surprise. Her reaction seems to him funny. Kal, with seriousness expression, faces reminds us that some young woman I was looking for her. His words sound mysteriously, and Yule can't understand why he's leading yourself like that. Yule is trying hide confusion, but her sight speaks for her. Kal notices this, and approaching is interested in what disturbing her. She feels that the answers she needs are hidden in his eyes. Her thoughts, they get confused, but one of them pierces consciousness. Why is he so careful? Got dressed? Even hair carefully trimmed. His altered appearance calls, set questions, but it is not resolved their ask. Finally, they are standing opposite each other, surrounded light that dispels all shadows. Their views intertwine, and Yule understands that this moment will be decisive. Yule, noticing the eloquent sight, Kalya froze in confusion. Her face turned crimson. She didn't know how. React thoughts whirlwinds flashed through my head, forcing the girl more and more to be nervous. Confused, she recalls that I accidentally voiced my thought out loud. Her awareness accompanied by wave panic. I clutched at myself, thinking that only what lost her head and committed something impossible. Kal slightly leaned towards Yule, noticing her words. He looked surprised but reserved. His red eyes expressed mixture interest and excitement, and the voice sounded softly, which made Yule feel myself more vulnerable. Yule, shocked by what he heard, suddenly stepped back. Her loud cry about that call speaks some nonsense. Echoed throughout the room. However, Sightman remained solid, although he retained small smile. Trying to divert the topic, Yule, with a frightened expression, faces remembers the need hand over message. She states that someone will have to wait if Call does not hurry, and literally runs away from rooms. Left alone. Call, perplexed, repeats to himself her words. His face is illuminated with warmth and embarrassment. He is sincere, surprised that Yule thinks he's handsome and doesn't know how this comprehend. Yule runs away, overcome mixture embarrassment and shame. She, I am convinced, that fully lost reason, and curses myself for allowing emotions break out. This was weakness, which she is ashamed. Young woman continues reproach herself. She believes that stress because of the recent meetings brought to her to such a state. Yule is sure that should pull yourself together and stop to commit errors. Thinking about it, what happened? Yule realizes that now she will be awkward. Look into the eyes. Kalu. Her thoughts filled self-condemnation, and she doesn't know how to behave further. Nevertheless, Yule tries myself calm down. She convinces yourself that her feelings and experiences are not connected with theirs in any way. Communication. Girl hopes that will be able to take situation under control and will not repeat again error. Yule met Estella, who Estella called her joyfully, was unbelievable, excited meeting, and with the shining. She said with a smile that felt magical. Yule's energy, an immediately opened door. Estella, full of delight, told how I was looking forward to it this moment. Her joy was sincere and infectious. She looked like she was ready to share something very important. She took Yule by the hand and led her inside, with enthusiasm, explaining that wants to give something unusual. Yule was slightly surprised, not expecting such a gesture, and followed Estella. Yule suggested that speech. It's about money, and slightly. I was confused, not believing that Estella is willing to give her gifts so often. She looked like embarrassed, but reserved, smiled. Estella opened the door and showed Yule a special room. Her eyes were glowing joyfully, as if she just about to happen will reveal its most a big secret. Yule, noticing this, tried guess what Estella wants to show her. It turned out to be a secret, the office that Yule heard about from Call. This has caused her wave memories. Estella explained that with the help of magic, moved the office in which she spent a lot time in childhood to give Yule a cozy space for reading and thinking. The room turned out to be huge, a library full of books, bright and atmospheric. Estella was happy, watched Yule's reaction, proud of the fact that I was able to do for her. Yule was delighted and admitted that she really liked this library. She was impressed attention Estella and appreciated her efforts. Estella was happy, hear this, is her eyes glowed with joy, and Yule smiled, enjoying the warmth of the moment and understanding how many means this gesture. Yule was surprised examines office, which now belongs to her. Estella offers to the girl free to use this, a place to read, and then leaves, leaving Yule to think about it, new reality. Yule is stunned the abundance of books and the size of the library. In its head, rushes by the idea that now all this belongs to her. However, together with delight comes awareness, responsibility. Yule's gaze becomes thoughtful. She remembers recent conversation with Estella and Call Girl, trying to understand the meaning, said feeling in it, hidden importance. Yule begins to be tormented doubts. She realizes that she behaved rashly, succumbing emotions. Regretting his irascibility, she promises himself to be more cautious in the future. Suddenly, Yule's gaze becomes decisive. She understands that should thank Kalia for the support. This feeling gradually displaces her anxiety and uncertainty. Yule is getting ready, express gratitude. But instead, this is how it all turns out. Awkwardness. She gets lost in thoughts, distracted by memories and experiences. Kal suddenly appears nearby, comforting Yule. She feels myself calmer, clinging to him. The situation becomes warm, reminding of the importance, mutual understanding. In silence, Yule is distracted by reading in the library, but not for long. Kal comes into the room, promising to bring dinner. Yule feels growing care on his part. Yule admires Kalem, noting his sincerity and kindness. She reflects on the fact that in his place, she would have been proud of her actions long ago. But he remains modest and mysterious. Yule continues, look at the departing Kalia. His actions and words leave trace in her heart. inspiring girl on the inside change and strengthening their connection. Yule, thoughtful girl with white hair and purple. With her eyes, she thought studying the book. She found a text about magic changes appearance that caused her bewilderment and interest. This find promised something unusual and mysterious. She tried read ancient words, but faced difficulties. Questions and doubts filled her mind. For now, she tried comprehend incomprehensible spell that as if mocked her efforts. Spell suddenly activated, turning Yule into a cute, fluffy creature. Shock and disbelief mixed in her head. She realized that it was the result of magic, and panic gripped her. Yule saw a cat in the body, Kalia, who calmly entered the room. Her attempts to hide were clumsy, but each her reaction called curiosity and excitement, creating comical situations. Kal noticed strange the cat's behavior and approached closer. His serious expression faces contrasted with Yule's playful look. He leaned over to take her in his arms. Taking the fluffy one creation, Kal could not understand that this is a creature. Yule tried free oneself, desperately resisting, but all of her efforts looked like touching and funny. Yule was overcome with shame and annoyance when realized the absurdity of it all situations. Her irritation grew, and Kal only looked at her with bewilderment that more made her even more angry. Thoughts were confused. She wondered why she ended up in such a situation position. Her embarrassment changed anger at myself for the fact that decided red spell. Kal not understanding essence. Her panic began to lull the cat, thinking that he was scared. His concern caused Yule to have mixed feelings, irritation, and vague warmth from his attention. Inside, Yule was screaming in shame, trying to find a way out from this comical tests. Her determination to get back into shape only grew stronger. Despite the bewilderment Kala and his attempts figure out, Yule, having turned into a cat, realizes that Kal doesn't seem to even know about it, new form. However, she feels surprise and joy at how he looked after her with care, holds though her, it's confusing. Her thoughts full questions. Why touches Kalia such gentle and pleasant? And why she being a human feels so comfortable when he is her irons? She enjoys this moment, though realizes strangeness situations. Kiel seemed delighted fluffy being and continues gently to iron her. However, inside, Yule is torn. Her human pride, she protests, but against her will, relaxes, giving in pleasure. Yule finally relaxed. He falls asleep in Kal's arms, feeling warmth and calm. The human soul is outraged this, but the cat's side is completely conquered by the gentle hands of a man. Waking up in my human form, Yule discovers myself cozy, settled at Kal's. Fearing that he would wake up, she decides, how can quicker get out from his embrace? Her covers panic after all, if he understands that she is the one cat. Will become disaster. Having gathered herself, Yule carefully is trying slip out without disturbing his sleep. However, despite her attempts, Kal does not wake up. His face is so calm that Yule for a moment is embarrassed and feels strange, the excitement of being so close. Trying not to wake up Kalia, she thinks about how much strange was situation. Her internal experiences mixed with relief that she managed to slip away without causing trouble suspicions. Thinking about it, what's happening, Yule is perplexed as to why Kal was so relaxed in an uncomfortable pose. Her thoughts again come back to how much all it could be awkward if only he would wake up. In her soul, she feels it's a relief that I was able to keep your secret. But now she understands that should be more careful so that Kal, I would never have guessed about her transformation. Yule is very worried, her thoughts tangled. She remembers falling asleep in an uncomfortable situations, and now her covers shame. Her face blushes, and an inner voice reproaches him for his carelessness. This instant, full embarrassment. Yule finds herself in the library, where her notices Kal. His gaze sight makes her shudder. The man calmly watches, but in his eyes, readable hidden concern. She is lost under his attention. Yule begins to ask questions. She notices his awakening, and her voice reflects genuine surprise. The man seems slightly puzzled, but quick collects his thoughts. Between them arises lung voltage. Kal speaks. The mysterious word is cat. Yule is confused and does not understand what he means. Her reaction sharp, his calm contrasts with hers confusion. They exchange tense views. The man explains that was looking for Gray, a cat flashed by. I'm new here. Yule is embarrassed, takes away, look not knowing how, reply. It seems strange to her, and she starts doubt reality, what happened. Yule is trying justify oneself by explaining your own presence, that she just wanted to wake him up. However, her thoughts they get confused. She realizes that she could have given away yourself. Her internal experiences noticeable even on the face. Call suggests that all it could have been a dream, and softly advises Yule to go to the bedroom to finally to rest. His words sound calmly, but she notices hidden in them mockery. Yule turns around to answer, but notices how Call throws her half hints. Her anger is changing easy. Embarrassed, she hastily refuses further comments, hiding your own confusion. Yule tries outfits surrounded beautiful fabrics and flowers. Her accompanying admire how she does everything she's coming. She shines in these moments, despite the slight confusion from attention that warms her soul. Companions admire unable to choose best outfit. Yule looks at them with a smile, but the joke about buying everything makes her confused. Freeze. However, situation fast is filling up with laughter and warmth. Yule with a smile reports about his intention to pay for purchases. Her joy, it's overwhelming, but in my head, they're already sparkling thoughts about what acquired quantity dresses. Maybe be excessive, even if all this is for the sake of the future festival. Yule's gaze falls on the mountain of new one's dresses. Her, the inner voice, argues with logic. It is necessary whether she is simple girl to dress every day at different times, outfits when she doesn't belong to noble circles. Call appears with a mysterious expression. Faces, his red eyes sparkle, as if he were hiding something important. His look directed at Yule, as if he expects her to some actions or confessions. Yule notices that Call can't take his eyes off her eye. Her irritation she is growing, trying to understand why his presence. It evokes such a thing in her tension. Maybe she hopes hear from him something important, but there is no answer. Call, without looking away, look warns Yule, so that she remained within his sight. His voice was firm, like an order, leaving Yule confused. She catches myself thinking that I do not understand his motives. Yule, with a share sarcasm, notes strange behavior. Kalia, his mysterious nature puts. She's in a dead end. She wonders why he arouses so much in her emotions, but can't find an answer. Sitting against Kalia, Yule expresses your own bewilderment. His constant irritating presence and mystery behavior. She reproaches him for his obsession, feeling myself vulnerable under his gaze. Yule feels tired of everything what is happening. Her emotions overflowing her. She admits that from all these situations are difficult for her, and it seems that her energy is running out. Call reservedly reminds Yule of her. In his own words, his answer sounds indifferently, but it makes her think about how their conversations influence each other, and what role do they play? Play her life. Yule notices that his answers have become mechanical. In her eyes flares up anger, and she decides don't let him get away with her so easily anymore. Emotions, though, realizes that this may be endless struggle. Yule was lying in her room thoughtfully looking out the window. Darkness nights filled her thoughts about how her life is related to debts past, and she tried to find solace in the calm sleep. Her light hair and lilac eyes reflected lunar light, emphasizing her vulnerability and strength at the same time. Incapable, fall asleep. She felt presence problems. Yule turned around. Her attention attracted sounds from another rooms. Call, with his dark hair and tense expression, lay on the bed, lost in thought. His anxiety was almost tangible. Suddenly, an insistent knock was heard in the silence. Yule was alarmed, looked at the door. Her thoughts revolved around who could violate peace in such a, "It's late." She threw on her robe and headed towards the door. My heart was pounding with uncertainty. Having opened door, she froze in amazement. In front of her stood Leanthus. Its light hair and blue eyes shone in the light moon. His appearance was unexpected, but in his gaze was red persistence. Yule couldn't believe it, his own eyes. Leanthus explained that must was to come despite the late hour. They together approached the room where was located Call. Leanthus pointed out his condition, and Yule realized that voltage between them reached a critical point. Yule, feeling alarm, asked Leanthus to speak more quietly so as not to wake him up. Kalia Leanthus started talking about them, strange habit sleep in one room, her. This surprised, but she understood that this related to their unusual circumstances. He suggested step aside to discuss everything alone. His smile seemed deceptive to her, easy. but Yule felt that there were people hiding behind it, serious intentions. She all more was on guard, although she didn't show it this. Kyle, however, heard what's happening. His red eyes glittered in the darkness. He realized that Yule was not sleeping, and this thought excited him. His presence in the room, it seemed shadow that followed everyone her step. Unable to find a place for herself, Yule decided get distracted. She went to the office to read her hands, found a note with important words that made her think about the meaning total of what was happening. These lines left a mark on her soul. At this moment, Leanthus approached her and suggested that they return. He noted that she's probably tired too. His concern was sincere, but she couldn't shake the feeling that ahead, her waiting something important and inevitable. Yule and Leanthus sitting at an elegant table surrounded warm with light sunset. Leanthus, with a slight smiling, asks what the interlocutor would like to ask. Looking into her face with interest, Yule looks thoughtfully, as if tries to find words. Their meeting filled atmosphere, trust and ease, awkwardness. Leanthus concentrated. Looking at Yule carefully reminds me of the moment when she found herself in the Palace Emperor. There is a note of hint of significance. This event's as if it influenced a lot. Yule, in a silent thinking, lowers look like memories don't bring ease. His look becomes dreamy when he mentions her meeting Christian that day. Memories of another person may be related something important that doesn't give to him peace. Image of Christian flickers, filling space flowers and tenderness with light as if part memories. Leanthus asks the question of how looked like Christian. His voice sounds calmly, but look gives out desire to know more. Yule remains silent. Her face expresses fight against internal feelings. Moment stretches in a tense silence filled unspoken. His face becomes serious, and he admits that it's sad. Perhaps his words apply not only to memories, but also feelings, losses, or regrets. Indirect answer leaves after myself, feeling melancholy, awakening empathy for his experiences. Leanthus nodded, slightly, concludes that it should be so. His voice becomes hard, as if he accepts inevitability situations. Light falls on his face, reflecting determination, and inner the struggle that was them overcome. Yule softly asks, not everything whether he wanted to know. Her voice sounds, how challenge, prompting him to express their feelings completely. She looks at him with excitement, as if in anticipation, something important but unknown. Leanthus admits that he has. There is one more question, but it is not solved. Ask him, he smiles, but behind this smile is hiding something more. A table surrounded by treats contrasts with the tension in his words, reflecting his inner uncertainty. Yule softly offers, he just needs to ask, assuring that she will answer if knows. There is a note in her voice, sincerity. Leanthus, having met her, with eyes penetrates her words. However, his gaze full indecision reveals fear of something important. Yule looks at him expectantly, but Leanthus unfolds back, admitting that fear still holds him back from asking questions. His figure is enveloped in light that symbolizes his vulnerability. Yule remains thoughtful, feeling the gravity of its unexpressed feelings. Yule is experiencing excitement, fear. Hear the truth from Leanthus. She decides not to ask questions, admitting that afraid of his answer. However, there is a note in her voice, determination, do the first step to discuss what has been troubling you for a long time. Her soul. Leanthus notices sincere Yule's interest and offers her the opportunity ask any questions. His warm look and caring attitude help her feel myself more confidently, creating an atmosphere of trust between them. Yule says that she recently read a book about magical foundations, but it attempts master spells ended failure. She is shared with this Leanthus, trying hide disappointment, but he understands, listens, supporting her. His kindness. Leanthus ponders the oddity situations. He knows that Yule has not yet learned to control mana, but her ability to use magic transformations causes him genuine admiration. He tries unravel her secret unique gift. Remembering their past conversation, Leanthus reminds Yule of his promise to teach her magic. She confused looks at him, trying to figure out what to do next. His words give her confidence back, and she starts believe that, to him, can trust. Leanthus playfully hints that ready was. I would like to teach her, if would knew that she will offer as gratitude. His words make Yule feel embarrassed, but she feels that there is something hidden in them. Care and desire help her overcome her fears. Leanthus asks Yule to think about it. Really, Lee? Estella can become for her the ideal teacher, remembering the magical strength. Estella Yule begins doubt whether it is right. She relied on her help in the past. Comparing myself with Estella Leanthus, it is admitted that Same Moore doesn't know much. However, his confidence in his skills and willingness to teach Yule convince her that he can become for her a worthy mentor in magic. Leanthus turns Yule's attention to an important detail. Estella will not be able to teach her magic that hides mana. He shows that his knowledge exactly such spells makes him the ideal teacher in her situations. Yule realizes that offers Leanthus really suit her better. Total. Although she feels lung embarrassment, his goodwill and confidence finally convince her trust. It's up to him to start education. Yule trusted Leanthus his proposal. It seemed the perfect chance to escape Call's control. I dreamed of learning magic, which will help her cover her tracks and gain her freedom. His confidence and promise to become a teacher inspired the girl despite the hidden doubts. Call knew that their destinies connected magical chain. He felt his power intertwined with hers, and he knew that tear apart this one connection is the only one way find independence. Gloomy thoughts of escape filled his determination. Yule, leafing through magical records, realized all the complexity their situations. She wondered perhaps Lee convinced Estella help tear apart magical connection with Call. The thoughts gave her hope, but at the same time gave birth anxiety. However, thoughts about how Call maybe perceive her, the desire for freedom did not give her peace. Any attempt hide intentions might seem suspicious. Yule understood that should act carefully and wisely, so that avoid his wrath. From the very beginning, Yule had there is only one way out, to learn magic despite the constant presence Kalia. His care and control prevented her from concentrating on her own goals, but she couldn't afford to give up. Leanthus assured her what silent magic was his forte. This meant he could teach her without the risk of being noticed. Kalem, his ease and confidence made Yule believe in success conceived. Yule decided to start training as soon as she having heard offer Leanthus. She felt that it is forbidden lose time until their plans are not revealed. This gave her the feeling that finally something is going right. She wants. During the day, Yule spent time with Estella, picking up outfits and decorations. But in the evenings, all her attention was focused on lessons, magic with Leanthus. This rhythm filled her days, energy, and hope. Each 1 minute was painted. Yule realized that even if would she have was some tell, this all equals would not enough. I was exhausted from fatigue, but I believed that efforts will pay off. Her life became more and more tense, but Yule did not allow herself to stop. The desire for freedom and support, Leanthus, became for her that light, which led forward despite the shadow Kalia constantly standing behind his back. Yule and Kal enjoy the beginning of the long-awaited festival, surrounded by the scent of roses and the glow solar rays. Their figures standing against a background of blooming gardens symbolize the beginning of something beautiful. They are ready to immerse yourself in the festive atmosphere that promises be unforgettable. On the streets, cities reigns revival. Residents getting ready for the week holiday coloring. Streets in bright colors, each corner decorated with garlands and flowers. And in the air, the aroma of fresh air is in the air. Baking and spices, Yule admires, watches the motley stream of people and traders. Yule and Kal wander around the market, where their attention attract bright showcases with a variety of sweets. Everywhere joyful faces, multicolored confetti, and sounds of music. This is the place where time, as if stops giving opportunity, enjoy the present moment. This festival is the first for Yule experience of this kind. She is amazed by the abundance and energy that reigns around. Kal stays close, watching her enthusiastic reaction. Their walking down a crowded street reminds a fairy tale full of surprises. Yule wishes, how can more enjoy holiday, but suddenly faces the unexpected situation. Her sight changes from joyful to anxious when unpleasant incident violates idyll. However, her strength of spirit helps cope with difficulties quickly. In a restaurant filled with warm light, Yule and Kal sit down at a beautifully served table. The main dish becomes baked duck, served with exquisite side dishes. The atmosphere is conducive to a cozy conversation and enjoyment. Exquisite kitchen. Yule thanks the chef for the choice of dishes and sincerely hopes that Kalu will enjoy the meal. Her caring about every moment of this day speaks volumes about how much is important to her this holiday. Her smile filled with warmth and sincerity. Call, seeing Yule's efforts, she responds with a light smile. He evaluates sophistication moment and understands perfectly how many efforts was invested in the creation. This atmospheres, they both are enjoying by everyone in a moment. Joint time. However, the calm does not last long. Yule unexpectedly gets embarrassed when faced with something unexpected at the table. This brings in their light comic evening element, forcing to take a fresh look at what was happening. Despite all the events of the day, Yule is experiencing gratitude for this day. The festival leaves warm memories, and her confidence that next days will be more better. Does her happy call stays close, like quiet support, and part her happiness. Yule sat at the table, listening patiently, surrounding, despite the discomfort. Call noticed her confusion, and coldly declared that she had no place in such a situation. There was not only a note of protection, but also anger pushing to action. Call Sharp took Yule by the hand, lifting her from the place without paying attention. Attention to the surprise of the guests. Yule tried resist, but his determination left no choice, and they left the hall, leaving everyone at a loss. One of the guests tried support Yule by touching her shoulder to make sure she's okay. Face expressed confusion, but she remained calm, holding back emotions. Call led Yule away from people walking confident steps through the busy market. Yule is surprised asked where they were heading, but her voice was drowned in the general noise. She tried to regain control of the situation. Her thoughts were filled with bewilderment. Yule expected that Call will simply leave expressing your own discontent, but his determination continued her surprise. His behavior became for her a mystery. Call stopped turning to Yule. He noticed that she, even suffering, always maintains kindness towards others. This observation made her think about your own actions, although she didn't understand what he was getting at. Call asked why she endured inconvenience. Why sat where she belonged, bad. His voice sounded sternly, but behind his words was hidden care, sometimes masked by his stern tone. He held her hand, asking questions about why she tried to adjust under others. His look penetrated to the very essence of it. Thoughts making Yule feel myself unprotected, but at the same time heard. Call noticed that Yule was behaving differently with him than with others, and his voice filled mixture disappointments and resentments. Yule felt pressure from his words, but tried to keep calmness. Having collected her thoughts, Yule firmly asked Call let go her. Her voice sounded soft, but with a hint determination. She realized much for this short conversation, striving save balance in their not simple relationships. Yule slightly nervously, he remembers how her pulled out from places where she was extremely uncomfortable. Clenching her fists, she admits that she couldn't stay there longer, but still wonders how Call decided to do so. Decisive action, pulling out her practically by force, ignoring the opinion of others. She remembers astonishment, friends in particular, Estella, who I didn't even have time to understand why they suddenly left. Everyone is at the table, was too much tense, and the atmosphere was more like a tight trap. Yule persuades yourself that necessary, I would like to come back, so as not to leave an impression, unfriendliness. However, Call standing next to her is adamant. His frown sight expresses misunderstanding. Why they at all should consider opinions surrounding. He is unhappy with how Yule always tries to please others, even if she herself, this causes inconveniences. Call with bitterness says that she should have, would more think about yourself. He notes that if he hadn't interfered, she continued, would suffer driving himself within the framework of other people's expectations. For him remains a mystery why she adapts so easily under others. Yule is silent. Listens to her. Her look is full of confusion. She feels hidden pain in Call's words, but he doesn't understand why he feels it, so acutely perceives her behavior. His straightforwardness knocks down to confuse her, forcing think about his words. Call reveals their feelings, stating that he cannot watch, as Yule is forced to suffer situations that her weigh down. He always notices when she doesn't like something. Even if she hides this, his words touch her, leaving her in thought. His confession suddenly discourages Yule. He admits that inside him, all turns over when he sees her suffering. For him, it's not just anxiety, it's real pain. Yule begins, guess what is behind his rudeness, are hiding deep feelings. Yule notices that with Call something is wrong. He looks exhausted, his face pale, and he admits that he feels sick. she concerned about his condition and demands explanations as to why he takes such poor care of himself, hinting at his long-term fasting. Kal admits that his malaise. It started recently. Yul is shocked, but soon understands that his concern for her was so strong that he has completely forgot about myself. This moment makes her think about reciprocity their relations. She remembers how Kal was at the table, looked like as if driven the little animal, noticing her internal tension. His sincerity and readiness support her touched Yul to the depths of her soul. Now she looks at him, otherwise, realizing how